Oh, Joe Lutz. Oh, Joe Lutz. What would I do without you? Stand! And that is crazy. Up, New York Giants fans. Little mess up there with the green screen, but we're good to go. What's going on, Chris Leone? I saw Joe Lutz in here. Kristaps Porzingis, Mariano's in the house. Ligma's in the house. Danny King's in the house. Steven Castillo. I saw OGR's in here. Marjorie's in the house. Joey Lutz, you freaking lunatic. Hope you brought the cannolis. Ernesto's in the house. Justin Roman. Poppy, Chulo, Chad, JD, Davis, Karan Singh, Justin Roman, Sir Rap. Thank you to everybody for being here. John Williams, Pumpkin, Josh Latore, Johnny Moon, Don Giovanni. Giovanni, you sound like a paisan. What's going on, my man? Thank you to everybody for being here. Recon Dog, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. What's up, everybody? What a day. What a day, New York Giant fans. I wake up this morning. Everybody knows I'm a big Matt Rhule guy. And we're all pumped up for the interview today. And we find out that Matt Rhule signs with Carolina at like 9 a.m. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? This guy, he had his train ticket, like we're in the 40s. He had his plane ticket booked. Oh, man, OG, man, thanks for that, man. One giant bottle with a $5 super chat. Let me get that real quick. Bends the knees. My man, I called it on stream. All rise for Judge, who is on the wish list for OC and DC. Thank you so much, man, for the love. Yeah, as far as the OC and DC, obviously we're starting to hear names. Jason Garrett, believe it or not, is the guy that they're talking about potentially for the offensive coordinator. We'll see how that pans out. We'll see if the rumors are true. A lot of people hear Jason Garrett and they get scared. And I'm not scared of him being an offensive coordinator as long as he doesn't clap too much. But I wouldn't be opposed to him being an OC. I'd be opposed to him being the head coach. But he was a pretty good coordinator. He did a pretty good job with the Cowboys before he was the head coach. He's got a background in being a productive quarterback. Jay Gruden's another name I've thrown out there. Jay Gruden is a guy that really wanted Daniel Jones. I think he could thrive with Daniel Jones as a coordinator. Now, people are going to hear these names. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? We're not talking about head coach. We're talking about coordinators. I think Jay Gruden's another guy you could look at. Defensive coordinator, I've said for weeks, not weeks, probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, Chris Richard is a guy that I think would fit in really nicely here. Will he be available? I don't know. Will the Giants bring him on? I don't know. But we got a young secondary that needs to get a lot better. And I think Chris Richard, with the success he's had in the secondary in the past, with the Legion of Boom, everything else, I think Chris Richard's a name they should be looking at as well. Wade Phillips. Of course, Wade Phillips, a lot of success as a defensive coordinator throughout his career. A guy that would bring a lot of experience to a young head coach. Yeah, he's going to be 72, but he could be a short-term solution like I said yesterday. That's another name I'd be looking at as well. And I'm sure there'll be other candidates as well, but those are a couple of names that I'm thinking about. If you guys have not done so, go on over to One Giant Rebuttal and subscribe to that channel. But yeah, let's get back to this morning real quick, and then we'll get to the chat. So I wake up, and he's supposed to be on a plane to New Jersey. I find out Matt Rhule's not coming. So I say to myself, oh my God, what the hell's going on here? You know, we all thought that Rhule was the guy. We all thought he was coming here. And then I'm at work 3 hours later, and of all people, I find out Joe Judge is the head coach. And I am not an anti-Joe Judge guy. I haven't been an anti-Joe Judge guy this entire process. I thought he was a really interesting candidate that the Giants brought in, and he's a boomer bust type play. And it's not the New York Giants way. They don't normally go that route, which is why I never thought he was going to be a serious candidate for the Giants. But I'm not upset about it. I think he's the type of guy that if he's good, he's going to be really good. And if he's bad, he's going to be really bad. But I mentioned Mike Tomlin in my video. I think that's a perfect example. A guy with a limited resume. He came in. He was a great head coach. It can happen. Harbaugh was a special teams coordinator. Came in, was one of the best head coaches in the league. So it can happen. We'll see how it plays out. You know, you got to give the guy a chance. That's all I keep stressing. I'm not saying he's a slam dunk, but none of these guys were slam dunks. Got to give this guy a chance. We got to see what he's got, and I'm looking forward to it. What's going on, Q-Dog? What's going on, JH, Poppy Chulo, Chad in the house? What's going on, Eagles UK? Let's go. Be ready to fit. Yes. And yeah. And Bowers set me good executive level thinking. Can't teach that. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jay. I like this guy. I do like this guy. I think he's going to be. I'm with you on Rivera. I think he's. Oh man, QC, thank you so much, man, for the $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, standing up. Cheers. I don't have a beer, QC. But thank you for the love, man. Cheers to you, my man. Great supporter of everybody in the sports community. Thank you for being here, my man. I do appreciate that. What's going on, Vance Bill? But go ahead, ask your questions. Obviously, I'm going to be, the next probably 3, 4, 5 days, I'm going to be focusing on Joe Judge, the coordinators that I think he could potentially bring in. I'm going to have a pro and con video up tomorrow. discussing some of the things that obviously are detractors and things that are, obviously things that, are positives with Joe Judge. So I'll be digging into that. And like I said, hopefully he's the guy. That's all we could hope. At this point, we're Giants fans. You just got to hope for the best. We don't make the decisions. But I do see some of the reasoning why they gave this guy consideration. Will Judge look towards certain positions in the draft? That is a great question. Platypus Master 49, that's a great question, Al. And like I said, guys, I try to get to all your questions. I'm going to be there the whole time. But when I get a question, I try to answer it as best as I can. And Joe Judge obviously has been a wide receiver coach with the 49ers, with the Patriots, and a special teams coach as well. A lot of people have pointed to the fact that maybe he's going to draft Jerry Jeudy because of that. He also has ties to Alabama. I don't know how much that plays into that, being that he was a special teams coordinator there. We'll have to wait and see. I honestly don't. Oh, JJ, thanks for the super sticker, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much for the love, man. Great supporter of my channel. I've been on record as saying at number 4, I do not want a wide receiver. I don't think it's a position that I personally value it to be a top 3 or 4 pick. I think we have too many holes at more important positions, be it the tackle, be it the edge rusher. I wouldn't do it, but I would understand it if they did. Oh, Jeffrey, man, I really appreciate that, man. $4 super chat. Bends the knees. I round up to 5. That's what I say when I get a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber. 1 to 10, how do you see Judge's tenure going? Gino, great question, but it's almost impossible for me to answer that. Matter of fact, it is impossible for me to answer that. A lot of it's going to come down to, I think, the guys around him. Like I said in my video, I think they need to bring in the right support system. I think they need to bring in guys with experience on both the defensive and offensive end, being that he lacks experience. Everything you read about the guy, he has great leadership qualities. I think he could be a really good head coach. They say he relates well to the players, but he's going to need that experience around him. So I think a lot of his success will be dependent on the staff they hire around him. The defensive coordinator, the special teams coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach. So we're going to have to see the staff they bring around him. Obviously, Gettleman's going to have a lot to do with his success as well, and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, obviously you're only as good as your quarterback. So if Daniel Jones progresses, obviously it's going to make Joe Judge's life a lot easier. But I do think he could be a good head coach, for sure. Jeffrey, man, thanks for the love, man. $3 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, what about Rex Ryan as a DC? Thank you for the question, man. I really appreciate that, and thank you for the love. I've been asked that question now for, I don't know, 3 weeks. Rex Ryan, defensive coordinator. Obviously, a lot of people like Rex Ryan. Great. I'm not taking calls tonight, guys. I don't know who's calling me. Not taking calls tonight, guys. Maybe in the second half of the show, I will take some calls. I don't have my headphones, so maybe the second half of the show I'll take some calls, but not right now. Right now, I'm answering questions. But as far as now I got thrown off the. Let me scroll up real quick and answer that question. Rex Ryan, yeah. So I've been asked about Rex Ryan a lot now for like the last 3 weeks, and I just don't see him. And I'm gonna get to. Thank you guys so much for the love, man. I'll get to those questions in a second. I just don't see Rex Ryan as as he's in a good position right now. He's in the booth. He's making a lot of money with ESPN or wherever he works. I don't see him leaving that for a defensive coordinator position. He's going to look at it like he's taking a step down. This is a guy that was a head coach. He had a lot of success being a head coach. Well, not a lot, but he went to 2 AFC championship games. Obviously, he wore it as welcome. I don't see him taking a step down as a defensive coordinator. Obviously, I would love it. I just don't see it as a realistic option. And Argenis, man, thanks for the love, man. I really do appreciate that. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. Now, that's an interesting name. That is an interesting name. He says, what about Steve Belichick as a defensive coordinator? And I'm going to give Cop Hizzle credit. Now, I thought Cop Hizzle jumped the gun there with that when he said that Steve Belichick could be the New York Giants' next head coach with the lack of experience he has. But at the end of the day, look at Joe Judge. Not that he has that much more experience than a Steve Belichick. But I would think Bill Belichick might be grooming him for the Patriots job. We'll see how things end with Belichick over there. But Steve Belichick is certainly a guy that could be. But again, doesn't have a lot of experience yet, but he's certainly an interesting name for sure. And obviously he has experience coaching with Joe Judge, so maybe there's a link there. That's definitely an interesting name. Actually, a name I didn't really think about today, so that's a good call there. What's going on, PTA Sports? Thank you for the love, man. And there's another new Giants channel. He's got a terrific podcast. Go out there and check him out. $5 super chat. Benzini says, welcome our new head coach. Let me just see real quick. Who the blank is that? I think that was the reaction, PTA Sport. I think that was the reaction today by a lot of I watched Fisk's video before I went live, and that's basically what Fisk said for about 12 minutes, or however long his video was. And I think that was a reaction a lot of Giants fans had this morning when they saw Joe Judge as the New York Giants' next head coach. And I can't blame him. He's not a former head coach. He's not a former coordinator. So I get that. I get why people were like up in arms and they're going crazy. But like I said, you got to give the guy a chance. There's been guys with similar resumes to his that have had a lot of success in the NFL. We'll see what we got. He's learned under arguably the best coach in all of college football, Nick Saban, and he's learned under probably the greatest head coach in the history of football in Bill Belichick. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to have great results. There's been a number of coaches who have learned under Bill Belichick that have had horrible, horrible coaching careers. But one thing that I will say that gives you some hope, Flores did a great job this year with the Dolphins, team with no experience, a team that you thought was going to win 0 games. They won 5 or 4, I think 5. So that's encouraging, and we'll see what the kids got. Chris Devers, man, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat, bends the knees. He says, I love our new head coach. I know you wanted him. Dak will get even better, and good luck with your new head coach. Never know. I want more to stay as the OC. Yeah, I wasn't opposed to McCarthy. He wasn't at the top of my list, if I'm being completely honest. But for you guys, I think he was a better hire for the Cowboys than the Giants. The Cowboys are more of a win-now team. I didn't really think McCarthy fit this team, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think he ever wanted to come here. I know he took the interview, but that's a guy that's getting up there in age. He's had a lot of success before. I think he wanted to go to a team that was more built to win right now. I think he fits your team better than he does ours. I don't think he was ever that good of a fit for the Giants, but I think he was a better fit for you guys. Man, thank you so much, man. I coasted Trout 4 with the $5 super chat. Benzinese says, I'm hoping that this will be a Daniel Jones situation where everyone freaks out a bit at first, but everything turns out okay. And that's what I tried to do today. The night of the draft, I went crazy because my honest reaction, obviously I was very high on Josh Allen, but my honest thought process the night of the draft, obviously everybody could play Monday night quarterback. Thank you so much, Shake Money. I'll get to that in 1 second. Obviously, everybody could play Monday night quarterback, and they could say, oh, you shouldn't react, blah, blah, blah. But the night of the draft, I thought we could have got him at 17. And I really like Josh Allen. So that was my honest reaction. But I'm as I've been on YouTube more, I'm trying to take it a lot more seriously and try to stay composed and analyze things as best I can and try to take my fan hat off. And this green screen sucks tonight. And that's what I tried to do today. I think that he has a really good, he has really good potential. That's all I'll say about the guy. He's boom or bust. But we got to give him a chance, like I said. Shake Money, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, Jason Garrett, Wade Phillips wants revenge, Jerry. I wouldn't be opposed to Jason Garrett. I wouldn't as an offensive coordinator. I really wouldn't. I would. Like I said, Chris Richard's another guy that I think they should consider as a defensive coordinator. Let me try to get a couple more. Thank you guys for all the love, by the way. Thank you guys for being here. Chris Devers, man, thank you for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget nothing but respect for you and good points on Dak. Yeah, Chris, I think he could do well with Dak. If I'm being completely honest and unbiased, and I do think McCarthy's a good hire for the Cowboys. I do, if I'm being honest. I think that the Redskins got a great hire as well. It's going to be a very interesting division going forward. It's a completely new division. Over the course of the last week, we have 3 new head coaches. So it's going to be a fun year next year, seeing how all these head coaches do. I'm really looking forward to it. At what time, like the coming weeks or even this week, do you think the coordinators will be hired? Gino, great question. And Mike, man, I'll get to that 1 second. Let me answer Gino's question. And then I'm going to try to, I think I already answered Gino's. I just see them as they go. I'll try to get another one after this. As far as I couldn't answer that question, but I would think it would have to be sooner than later because the Giants are going to want to plan in place for the draft, for the free agency. They're going to want to know what their system's going to be, what players they're looking for, so the sooner the better. I think they'll have a staff in place within the next week or two. You look at the other teams, they already have their staffs in place for the most part, at least in the main positions, the offensive and defensive coordinator. So I expect the Giants to do that fairly quickly. And Mike, man, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat, you can forget about it. He says, if Belichick and Saban trust this, guys, I'm in. Well, exactly. I mean, he was the special teams coordinator for both of those teams, and you're talking about, and thanks for the love, man, you're talking about, I mean, the best college coach in the last 30 years and the best head coach ever in the history of the NFL. So you couldn't learn under 2 better guys. So that's one of the big pros. Will he be calling the plays? John Williams. From what I heard, I didn't get enough to read. From what people have told me, the answer to that is no right now. but I don't know for sure. But from what I've heard, the answer is no to that. But maybe somebody in the chat knows better. Rick said, thank you for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. I'm just worried for DJ's development. Next step. And that, my friend, Rickson, great supporter of my channel, that is a very fair concern. That is one of the main reasons why I kind of wanted to stick with Shurmur for a while there. I kind of held out hope to keep Shurmur for that reason mainly. I was worried about the development of Daniel Jones year 2. The one thing I will say, they have to get a guy in here. I think Gruden makes a lot of sense. Jay Gruden was enamored with Daniel Jones by all accounts. He wanted Daniel Jones in the draft. He's a good coordinator. I think Jay Gruden makes a lot of sense if he's available and he wants to take the Giants job. I think that's a guy that maybe Daniel Jones could strive under as a coordinator. I think he makes a lot of sense. And I agree with you. A big part of their game plan going forward has to be the quarterback, Daniel Jones. Year 2, huge year for a quarterback. Huge year. Opinions on this, just a few names. Offensive coordinator Garrett, defensive coordinator Chris Richard, special Bill those are all great names, TD. I would be very happy with that coaching staff. Very happy. Chris Richard, I've been saying now for weeks, I would love as the defensive coordinator. We'll see if it works out or if he stays where he is in Dallas. Joey Lutz says, who are your top OCs and DCs? I would say right now, either Wade Phillips or Chris Richard would be my DC. And as far as the OC goes, from the names I'm hearing, probably Gruden. You know, I want an established guy, a guy with NFL experience because of the lack of experience as the head coach. I would like, if you could get me a Gruden and Phillips or a Gruden and Richard, I'd be pretty happy with that, personally. That's just my opinion, though. I'm sure other people have other preferences as to which coordinators they'd like. You think Littleton signs Wade Phillips? That's something I brought up in my Wade Phillips video, 2K. That's something. What's going on, Boys for Life, man? Cowboys YouTuber, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. That's something I brought up in my video when I talked about Wade Phillips. Littleton has done very well under the Wade Phillips system. And I brought that up. And it might be interesting to see if Littleton would follow Wade Phillips over here if he became the defensive coordinator. Littleton was a special teams player 2 years ago. Last year, he took a huge step up, got the starting gig, and this year he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. So that's an interesting name that maybe the New York Giants do consider to bring over if, in fact, Wade Phillips becomes the defensive coordinator. Now, the one thing I will say, don't expect them to spend all their money. Dave Gettleman basically came out and said that. They're not going to spend a ton of money in free agency. They're going to save $20 million aside. So that's one thing you got to consider. But, yeah, Littleton's certainly a target, especially if you bring in Wade Phillips. Certainly a possibility. Why $70 million before an interview? Matt Rhule is a snake. Karambite, you're right. And a lot of Giants fans said that after the fact. And he wanted money at the end of the day. And he knew, Matt Rhule's not stupid. He knew the Giants were in a desperate situation. He knew that Giants fans voiced their opinion. They wanted Matt Rhule. I'll get to that 1 second, Van. Thank you for the love. They wanted Matt Rhule. He knew that he was the guy that the fans wanted, and he had leverage. The Giants were desperate, and he tried to take that. He tried to use that leverage today, and the Giants said, "No, we got a guy. We don't need to get in a bidding war." And who's to say if the Giants come at him and they say, "Yeah, we'll give you 65." What if he goes back to the Panthers? You don't know what he's going to do. He's going to try to squeeze as much money out of these teams as he can. The fact that he tried to hold the Giants over a barrel tells me that he didn't really want the job. He was just in it for the money, which is a shame because I think Matt Rhule would have been a great fit here. But you move on and you hope Joe Judge is the guy. That's all we can do as fans. And Van, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat, bends the knees. He says, I'm jacked up for this guy. Don't hamstring Judge. The experienced guys were fired for a reason. Let him bring in young assistants. Hey, you know what? I just want to win. I really just want to win, Van. And if young assistants are what they deem are the guys that they should bring in, I mean, maybe that will be the case. I mean, you did hear Gettleman basically say that he wants young, fresh minds that the players can relate to. And maybe that will be the case. Maybe they will do that. We'll have to wait and see. I personally would want more of an experienced guy just because of his lack of experience. But I'm gonna go with whatever, man. Joe Judge has he has a good background. He's very smart. The other thing he has a PhD in education. So he's definitely a very intelligent guy. He's learned from one of probably the most intelligent mind in the history of football. So a great background and a guy who's really smart and dedicated. So there's a lot to like about this guy. And John, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. A lot of people have mentioned him as well. Pepper Johnson for defensive coordinator. It's another interesting name. It's definitely another interesting name. A lot of people brought him up in my videos I've seen in the comments. And it's possible, man. It's definitely possible. We're going to have to wait and see. I am going to do a ton of videos on potential coordinators. Matter of fact, I don't know if all you guys follow my community notes, but I'm probably going to put up polls for you guys on which guys you want me to do videos on in terms of potential coordinators for the New York Giants. I'm going to have videos on the entire coaching staff because I expect them to have a new offensive line coach. I expect them to have a new special teams coach. I expect them to have a new beer, a guy that sells the beers. They're going to have everything's going to be new. A new security guard. Giants are going to start from scratch. It's going to be all brand new. So I'll have videos up on the entire coaching staff as the Giants change it all up this year. It's going to be a brand new, fresh start, and hopefully we get something going in the right direction this year. That's all we could hope for. And I think I missed one there. Josh, man, great subscriber of mine. What's going on, Josh Satori? $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, Kyle Van Noy, potentially, now that we have Judge. That's a name I didn't really think about. The only thing I worry about with former Patriots, and I think you know what I'm going to say to you, Josh. Let me get a sip of coffee. It's getting cold. Every time I do these, the coffee gets cold as hell because I don't get to sip it. But the only thing I'm going to tell you about Kyle Van Noy, what I worry about, former Patriots, you look at Nate Solder. Nate Solder is, same thing. The Patriots have had a history of making players look better than they really are, and then when they leave the Patriots, they're not the same player. So that's what I would worry about with a Van Noy, with anybody coming from the Patriots, because Bill Belichick is that good of a coach. But, maybe some of these, maybe Judge feels like he can get the same out of them. It's possible. It's certainly possible. Let's see what we got here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any. Man, Q-Dog, man, thanks for the man. I really appreciate that. Oh, man, yeah. Oh, God, I just want to make sure I don't miss any of these. Chizola, man, great subscriber, man. What's going on, Chizola? $2 super chat. You can forget about it. We have to get big in free agency for Joe Judge. Yeah, I don't think they're going to break the bank, but the money they do spend has to be on players that are going to bring a lot of production to the New York Giants. Me personally, I would attack the offensive line. That's what I would do, and I would try to spend. I would try to add a piece like an edge rusher in free agency as well. But I would try to add a lot of depth to that offensive line in free agency, and then attack defense early on in the draft. I think that would be my approach. But the only problem with that is there's not a lot of great offensive linemen in free agency. So that's what I worry about. We'll have to see if Conklin hits the open market. There's a couple of centers as well that they could spend some money on. But even if it's not a great offensive lineman, they need depth. So similar to what the Buffalo Bills did this offseason. Robert Perry, man, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat, bends the knees. What should be the position the Giants should draft first? That's the question of the night. And they're in a funny spot, Robert. They really are, because at the number 4 spot, they have so many holes. They could go so many ways. They could go Jerry Jeudy. They could. I wouldn't be my choice. They could go Andrew Thomas if he's there, and there's a good chance he will be. Which is obviously a left tackle if you don't know who he is. They could go Simmons. Which is a linebacker / safety. He's kind of a hybrid player. They could go with an edge rusher. It also depends on what system they're going to be in. Certain players, and AJ Espensa is a 4-3 defensive end. So if they switch to the 4-3, you may look at a guy like that. But they go a number of ways. Me personally, I'd be looking at a tackle or an edge rusher. That's basically what I've said. Or they may just go best player available. So we'll have to wait and see what they decide to do. And with Gettleman, anything could happen. And Q-Dog, man, once again, thanks for the love, man. Patrick with a $2 super chat. You can forget about it. Does this mean we bring over Kraft production? Patrick, that's a great question. And you know what? If they don't get caught, at this point, I don't care. I just want to get wins. So if Kraft Productions could get us a couple of wins, as long as we don't know about it, let's go for it. No, I'm kidding. You never know, though. You never know. Thanks for the love, man. Chizola with a $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, Giants change it up. Chris hoping for cheerleaders. Why not? We've never had cheerleaders in our entire existence. Jets fans have some of the hottest cheerleaders. Actually, a girl I went to high school with, not now, but a couple of years ago, was on the Jets cheerleader squad. We've never had cheerleaders. Why not? Let's change it up. Let's try to get us some winning tendencies this year. Thanks for the love, man. And I want to make sure I didn't miss anything else. You guys are incredible, by the way. Thank you very much, man. Wow, this chat is moving, man. You guys are phenomenal, man. Thank you to everybody for being here. $5 super chat from BJ Boogie. BJ Boogie, man, thanks for love, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being a great subscriber. $5 super chat. Ben's Denise says, we were the best job in the market, in my opinion, and let candidates with proven championship pedigree walk to division rivals and settle for judge. BJ Boogie, you're definitely entitled to your opinion. In my opinion, I don't think we were the best job. That's what I've said, and I hate saying that. I'm a New York Giants fan. I love the New York Giants. I think historically we are the best situation historically, but in recent times, the reason why I don't think we're the best job, I always try to put myself in the situation of a head coach when it comes to a situation like this. And if I'm a head coach, I look at the Dallas Cowboys, and I hate Jerry Jones, okay? I hate the Dallas Cowboys. But I look at that situation. Right now, I think they have more talent than the Giants do. I don't think anybody could debate that, right? The other thing I say, as bad as Jason Garrett was, as a head coach, the most important thing to me is job security. They left Jason Garrett on there for 10 years. The New York Giants brought 2 head coaches in the last 3 years. If I'm a head coach, I want to go into a situation where I feel like I'm not going to get kicked out of there in a year or two, which is kind of what the New York Giants have created these last couple of years. So that, and the same thing with the Panthers. Rivera was there for 9 years. So they both showed a lot of patience. Obviously, they had more success than we did, which is a big reason why. But as a head coach, I look at that. And that's why I personally, if I'm a head coach and I'm taking my Giants hat off, I would have viewed both of those situations as better situations. And this green screen did it again. Let's go to the next one. But thank you for the love, man. I really appreciate that. Jesse Green with a $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, hey, Chris, the judge makes the final rule. Good play on words. I like that, Jesse Green. I like that. I should have used that as the title of my video today. Thank you for the love, man. And Trey with a $5 super chat. Hold on. I think I lost it. Ben's Denise, he says, what do you think about the Giants taking AJ? Yeah. The only way that happens, Trey, and I like him. I've seen highlights on him. I've liked what I've read. But the only way, in my opinion, that happens is if we switch to a 4-3. Which is possible, but he's a 4-3 D lineman in my opinion. I don't see them drafting him if we stay in the 3-4. He's too big to play the outside linebacker. Not athletic enough, in my opinion. Danny, thank you for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, there's a new judge in town. Yes, there is. And actually, well, if you're a New York Yankees fan, there's 2 judges in town. Unfortunately, I'm a Mets fan. And yeah. But thank you guys for the love, man. You guys have been incredible. Man, you guys are incredible, man. And I'm going to try to get to everybody's questions, I promise. I know the chat's moving, man. I'm trying to get to all these, and then I'll try to read some of your guys' questions as well. Van, man, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat. Ben's Denise. He says, shake it, baby. I love this channel. Guys are making it rain in here. Van, man, thanks for the love, man. Thank you to all. By the way, I always try to say it throughout the entire live stream. Thank you guys for giving me the drive to make the videos I do. Thank you guys for watching my videos. And, yeah, man, I put in as much work as I do on my channel because of you guys, man. I genuinely love doing this. And, you know, when you guys support me the way that you do, like today, for example, and I'm going to say this tomorrow in my video, but, you know, I'm at work, and this news comes out at like 11 a.m., and I don't get the video up for 7 hours. And in the first hour, I think I had like 3,000 views. This news is 7 hours old, and you guys still show so much support to me, and you still watch my videos. So I can't say thank you guys enough, man, for all your support. Let's see what we got here. That's the news I make when I'm thinking, by the way, if you guys don't know. Raymondo, man, thanks for love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, kind of scared where this franchise might be going. I understand. It's definitely a risky hire. And I will not argue with anybody that is worried about this move. It's a high-risk, high-reward move here. No doubt about it. It's definitely not the safe play. I think the Giants are going for a home run here. But when you go for a home run, you risk striking out. So we'll see how it plays out. It definitely wasn't the safest hire. I agree with that. And Chizola, man, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. Sims is a hybrid beast transformer Godzilla. I'm not going to argue with that. I like everything I read about Simmons, everything I see about Simmons. I saw him play in the bowl game. Love him. He could play a variety of positions. He could play both the safety. He could play as a blitzer. He could play as a guy in coverage at the linebacker spot. I'm a huge fan of Simmons, and I will not cry at all on draft night if we draft him. Thanks for the love, man. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything else. And then, oh, wow, Brandon Rogers, man. Thanks for the love, man. Coated Trout again, man. Wow. Let me just read. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Let me read this one. Coated Trout, man. Thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. It says, what do you feel has caused the O-line problems? Okay. Again, I always try to be fair. In my personal opinion this year, I think it's a couple of things. I think you can certainly point to the coaching. I think the O-line coach could have something to do with it. Maybe Shermer has a little something to do with it because we've seen offensive linemen leave the Giants and get better. Flowers is an example. Fluker is an example. Guys have gotten better. But I do think part of the reason was a rookie quarterback. I think Daniel Jones has to get better at pre-snap reads. I think he needs to put his offensive linemen in better situations, whether it's setting up the run, setting up the pass. So I do think a rookie quarterback had something to do with the offensive line struggles this year. You saw the offensive line played great the first 2 weeks against the Cowboys and the Bills. I think due in large part that there was a veteran quarterback back there, Eli Manning. It only makes sense that a veteran quarterback like Eli Manning is going to have better pre-snap reads than a rookie, which should improve next year. Daniel Jones should get better at doing that, and I think that'll help the offensive line. And obviously, we need more talent. Some of the guys just aren't good. Halapio is not good. He was bad all year. Remmers was but they need to get more talent as well, and they got to get more youthful on the offensive line. Let's see what we got here. Brandon Rogers with a $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, Ravens, Chiefs, Vikings, and Seahawks all win. All right, Brandon Rogers, you know I'm not picking the Seahawks. I know you're a big Seahawks fan, but you know I'm not picking them. I'm picking the Packers. I will say this. I think the Vikings have a legitimate chance. I will say that. I think they have a legitimate chance to beat the 49ers. I'm leaning 49ers, but don't be shocked if the Vikings win. And I agree with the Chiefs and the Ravens. I think it's chalk in the AFC. Let's see what we got here. Jeff, man, thanks for love, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, move Carter to DN and switch to the 4-3. You could do that. A lot of people actually think that Carter would be better suited because of his coverage skills. He's actually really good in coverage, which is surprising. Most people thought when he came in, he was going to be a really good pass rusher, edge rusher. Now, one thing I will say, when they made an adjustment and moved Carter up to the line of scrimmage at the end of the year, he did get better pressure on the quarterback. I will say that. So that's a good point that you bring up with the 4-3. But he is also very good in coverage. So he could possibly play the linebacker spot, like middle linebacker, outside linebacker in a 4-3. People have pointed to that as well. But he's an interesting prospect. Let's see what we got here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. You guys are phenomenal, man. What's going on, Bob Ross? Thanks for being here. Just saw that. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Got Jeff. Chris Devers, man. Thanks again for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, would you do a vid with Louis T? Yeah, I people have asked me about Louis T. I would do a video with anybody. I'm always open to working with anybody. People have asked me about Strong Opinion Sports. I haven't reached out to him. I would love to work with him. I think he's got a great channel. And another thing I'm thinking about doing in the future, by the way, guys, I'm just letting you know now. I haven't announced it yet. It won't be for a few months. But one thing I'm thinking about doing in the future, probably in about 3-4 months, is doing a podcast similar to a Strong Opinion Sports. Obviously, not like his content. More Giants focused, more NFC East focused, with occasional broad sports thrown in the podcast. Like if there's a major storyline with the Knicks or just the NFL in general. And then breaking it down into individual videos as well. So for people that just want to watch my Daniel Jones talk, it's 7 minutes. That's one thing I've thought about doing down the line. Probably 2, 3, 4, 5 months, but that's one thing I've thought about. But yeah, I would work with Louis T. People have asked me about him in the past. And thanks for love. And Shakur, man, thanks for love, man. I always see you comment on my videos, man. I appreciate the love, man. $5 super chat, Benzanese. He says, how about the DC since judges here, and how about new uniforms? To be honest with you, I have not looked into that guy at all, but I will. I will look into him. And as far as new uniforms, that's another question people have asked me. I personally love the New York Giants uniforms. The color rush jerseys are like my favorite jerseys in all of football. Love them. I like the Giants uniforms. I think they're classic. I think they're nice. The one thing I will say, the Jets uniforms have grown on me over the course of the year. They really have. When they first came out, I was not a fan of the Jets uniforms. I thought they looked like high school uniforms, but they did grow on me. I like the Giants uniforms though. I wouldn't want to switch them. I like them. I'm not a fan of the red ones though. I never liked the red alternates. But thanks for the love, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any of these. And Chizola, man, thanks very much. Just want to make sure I didn't miss one in between. Wow, you guys are incredible, man. You guys are phenomenal, man. Thanks for all your love and support, man. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Raphael, man, thanks for the love, man. Oh, a Canadian. We got a Canadian. Well, I don't even remember what Canadians say. What do they say? God, I forgot the saying that they say. But thank you for the super chat. He says, what do you think the next stop for Eli is? I love Eli Manning. If you watch my channel, you know that. I personally think he's going to retire. He's hinted that he might not. But when you look around the league, I don't see an opportunity for Eli to start in a good situation. I just don't. You could say maybe the Colts, maybe there's not many other opportunities. All I'll say about this, if Eli comes back, I want him to come back in a situation where he could compete. I don't want him to be like Ryan Fitzpatrick this year and playing for the Dolphins. I'd rather him retire. But if a pretty good team gives him an opportunity, go for it. I think he'll retire, though, if I had to guess. And I got the hiccups, by the way. Let's see what we got. Gizola, man, thanks for letting me. $5 super chat. Benzanese, he says, turns out Giants called up Bill Belichick for these head coaching jobs, not to make him our coach, but to ask him about Joe. Bill gave glowing reports on Joe. Yeah, that's the report I read. That's what I talked about in my video today. And, Bill Belichick has always been fond of the New York Giants. I remember reading stories about that he gets goosebumps every time he walks in the building. Obviously, he came up with the New York Giants, and they have a lot to do with his success in the NFL and his success as a head coach. Maybe he did the New York Giants a favor. Maybe he gave him a tip on Joe Judge, and I think that's why they gave Joe Judge an interview to begin with, based on Belichick's recommendation. And, if anybody has an eye for talent, it's probably him. Now, something what detractors will say is, look at his tree. No guy's really performed that well, and that's fair. Bill O'Brien's probably the most accomplished, and he's not that good of a head coach. Flores has done great with the Dolphins this year, though. I think that's encouraging. But we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, I think Bill Belichick had a lot to do with the hire. Let me just see here, man. You guys are the best, though. Thank you for being here. Let's see, man. Robert Perry. Wow, I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Alberto, man, thanks for love, man. $5 super chat. Benzanese, he says, just saw a rumor that Judge is bringing in Steve Belichick as the DC. Any truth to that rumor? I do not know. Somebody just asked me about Steve Belichick earlier in the stream, and I would be completely open to that. They've worked together. Steve Belichick, obviously a guy that would bring some excitement to the fan base. Everybody's going to get excited hearing the Belichick name. Do you know how many requests I've gotten to make a Belichick video? And in my heart, I knew he was never coming here. That's why I didn't make the video. I didn't think it was realistic, but I would have loved to see Bill Belichick come here. But I'll look more into it. And if it seems to be something that's a realistic possibility, I will make a video on it. I'll have it up tomorrow. I'll definitely look into it. I have not read that yet. But, I'll definitely scope it out, and I'll make a video on it if it's realistic. Thanks for the love, man. And thanks for the tip. I'll definitely check it out. Love your videos. I suggest your videos to all my friends. I just saw that loud super set. Thank you very much, buddy. And I hope you're still here to hear that. I don't mean to be missing anybody. Robert Perry with the $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. Should the Giants shop Evan Ingram? I actually made a video on that, Robert, about 2 weeks ago. And I was surprised at how many people disagreed with me. And yes, my answer to that is yes. But I'm not just saying trade Evan Ingram to trade Evan Ingram. I need to get back a fair price. But if I could get a fair price for him, yes, I would trade him. And the other thing I meant to make a video on, the New York Giants just brought in C.J. Conrad, who, if you're not a crazy Giants fan, you're not going to know who C.J. Conrad is. I cover the Giants, so I know who he is. He was a standout in OTAs, in offseason training camp. They brought him back. A lot of people were surprised he didn't make the team. He's a tight end. Obviously, we had some success there with the undrafted free agent as well in a Caden Smith. So we'll see. If we could get the right price for him, though, I would trade him because I don't think he's going to be here long term. And he's injury prone. That's what I worry about. He's going to cost a lot of money. So I would trade him for the right price. If you get a late second, early third round pick, you got to think long and hard about trading him, in my opinion. But thanks for the love, Robert. KNN, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat you can forget about. Predictions for OC DC, both hires extremely important. Both hires are beyond important. And the names I threw out at the beginning of the stream, I don't know if they're going to be the hires, but I think some guys that they'll give consideration. Jason Garrett, you've heard. And I wouldn't mind him as an OC. He had success when he was not a head coach. And I think he's a former quarterback. I think he could be a good hire for the OC. So that's a name. Jay Gruden's another name, a guy that really liked Daniel Jones on draft night. I think he'd want to potentially take the job, and he's a solid offensive coordinator. And then with the DC, Chris Richard's the guy I've mentioned a lot, and Phillips is another guy. Those are some names that I would consider. But it could be a guy we've never heard of. It could be a college guy. It could be somebody that they promote from another organization that's not a coordinator. We don't know. But those are just some names that I would throw out there. And thanks for loving, man. I really appreciate that, man. Canadians say, hey, there you go. Hey. I don't know if I said that right. I tried. I have a New York accent. Let's see what we got here. So Mr. Speed, Watch Doctor, man. Thanks for love, man. I really appreciate that. Chizolo. All right, Chizolo, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. Hey, if Bill says yes to him, then I accept. And you're right. If Bill says yes to him, you probably should give him some consideration. That's for sure. One of the best coach of all time, in my opinion. And thanks for love, man. And Watch Doctor, man. What's going on, my man? Which judge will be discussed more in September, Joe or Aaron? I got to go with Joe, man. I got to go with Joe, being that it'll be a fresh new start to the season. Let me get some water. I got to go with Joe Judge, being that it'll be a fresh new start to the season. I'm a Met fan, so I don't watch the Yankees, but obviously Aaron Judge. Yankees have World Series expectations this year, so he'll be very talked about as well. But I'll go Joe Judge. I think there's going to be a lot of hype. As much hype as there was for Daniel Jones this year, I think you're going to have that much hype for Joe Judge this season for the Giants. Sorry about that, guys. I had to take a sip. I don't want to faint on stream. Let me get the next super chat. I saw there was at least one more. Mr. Speed, thank you very much. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He just simply says Dallas sucks. Go Eagles. Yeah. I mean, we could both. One thing we could agree on. We both hate the Dallas Cowboys. That's for sure. And one thing all Eagles fans, if you're in here, we can agree on. Cowboys fans, we both hate the Eagles. So, but thanks for the love, man. I really appreciate that, buddy. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any others. And then I'm going to try to get to some questions, guys. Okay. Do you think the Giants can get Chase Young? Simple answer, no. No. Redskins aren't trading down. Bengals aren't trading out of one. Bengals are going to take Joe Burrow. No chance. 0%. Do you like Delpit at 4? No, I think it's a little bit of a reach. But I do like Delpit a lot. I'm going to have a mock draft probably up in a week. I keep pushing it back because I was waiting until the head coach was done. And I'm going to see if some coordinators come in as well. Once all the coaching stuff is done, I'm going to start doing a lot of mock drafts. And one thing I've suggested is a mock draft stream where I do once a week, similar to this, after the Super Bowl. Probably mid-February up until the draft, once a week. And I'm also going to do mock draft videos, but maybe for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, I have a guest come on. We do a mock draft with the chat. I think that'll be a lot of fun. That's something I tinkered with a little bit last year. And I had a blast. I had one giant rebuttal and we did it. So that's one thing I'll do. But right now I actually have Grant Delpit going between the 10 and 15 range. Maybe drops to the Cowboys. I think 4 is a little too early for Delpit. I do like him though. But things could change leading up into the Combine. Tom Coughlin for defensive coordinator. I don't see Tom Coughlin coming back. I really don't. I don't think so. I love Tom Coughlin. I adore Tom Coughlin. But no, I don't see it. I really don't. I don't. Oh, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that, man. Platinum card breaks, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in to the stream, man. $20 super chat, and I got a Dire Giants fan. Says I got to say the phrase every time I get one. Say hello to my little friend. He gives me a $20 super chat. He says, great content. PlatinumCardBreaks.com, NFL, NBA, MLB sports cards. We rip $25,000 in high-end sports auto cards a night, but this is fun. Shout out. And P.S. I'm a New Yorker as well. Ron Conk, I'm a New York. Stand up! So there's a little plug for your business there, and thank you for the love and the support on the channel, man. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm a Long Islander as well. So that's cool, man. Thank you for being here, man. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I'm from Nassau County. But thanks for the love, man. I really appreciate that, man. Steve Mills, New York Giants GM. No. Pepper John. Yeah, somebody said that earlier, Pepper John. A lot of people have said that. We'll see. I think a lot of Giants fans will welcome that for sure. Shermer gonna be a great Subway. We'll see. There were the rumors that Shermer was gonna potentially be the offensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins. That is now gone. I think the Redskins got their guy today. Now there's another name, by the way, and one of my best subscribers. I don't know if he's in here. Chuck Sharts brought it up to me. O'Connell. There's another name. People are very high on him, the former offensive coordinator for the Redskins. That's a name that the Giants could look at as well. The guy that they let go, Kevin O'Connell. And Chris Devers, man, thank you so much, man, for the love. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, blank the Eagles 5 Super Bowls, and congrats on the 21. Thank you, Chris Devers, man. Thank you for all your love and support, man. And thank you for being a great supporter of not just me, everybody in the Giants community. I see you all the time in Cop Pizzle's streams, in Bad Dogs videos as well. So thank you for all the support, even though you root for the enemy. Thank you. Giants Insider says, yeah, but Jay Gruden. What's up, Giants Insider, man? Thanks for being here, buddy. Yeah, I mentioned Jay Gruden. I'm a fan of Jay Gruden as the OC. What's going on, Moose? Thanks for popping in, my man. And there's Chuck. What's up, Chuck? Yeah, there you go. He loves Kevin O'Connell. Chuck's awesome. Even though he's a Redskin fan, I forgive him. I forgive you, Chuck. I do not like what you guys are doing this offseason. I just don't. You guys are pissing me off. You're getting better. I don't like that. Keep grinding, Cannoli. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Joe Lutz's been here since the beginning, man. He's always supported me. He's always been in my live streams. I got nothing but love for Joe Lutz, man. Nothing but love for Joe Lutz. John Letourneau and now just stand up. If the entertainment clap becomes OC, how much more pressure is on Gettleman for this draft coming up? So you're saying Jason Garrett, with the golf clap Garrett, as I like to call him, if he becomes the OC. One thing I'll say about Gettleman, one thing you can't knock him for, he's a great drafter. He's definitely, well, maybe great's a strong word. I think we've become so accustomed to horrible drafting that if a guy drafts okay, we think it's great, but he's better than okay. He's drafted well. But I'm not worried about the draft. I think Gettleman to do a good job in the draft. I think we should be confident with his drafting ability going into this year. The free agency, that's another story. Hopefully they come up with a good plan and they evaluate it properly and they bring in the guys in the areas that we need, and that sets them up for the draft, like Gettleman said in his press conference. But I think we'll draft well this year. I really do. I think we've done a good job of drafting the last 2 years. The last year specifically. What's going on, Fizzle? Yes, I was at work today, Fizzle. So I saw the link. I'm gonna check it out hopefully after this stream. But yeah, I'll definitely try to check out that video. I'm assuming it's on your channel. If it's on your channel, just go on your channel and check out your vid. But yeah, I was at work today, so I was busy. But I did see the comment. Here we go, Chris. I'm telling you, this is our coach. Here comes the judge. What is up, Dane Martin, my man? Great supporter of my channel. Glad to see you in here. And I'm with you, man. I'm on board, man. What do we have to lose? You know, we got to give the guy a chance. And I said it in my video today, and all I've tried to say to you guys this entire offseason is be patient. Give whoever comes in here a chance, regardless of who it is. If it was Jason Garrett, I might have flipped out. I might have broke something in my house. I might have broke another pair of headphones. Thank God it wasn't. Jesse Rivera, thank you so much. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says Garrett OC and Phillips DC would be nuts. I'm on board with that. You get two very experienced guys. Phillips has been a terrific defensive coordinator his entire career. He flipped several defenses. The Houston Texans were like the worst defense in football. He turned them into like the best like a year later or 2 years, maybe a year or two later. So he's definitely shown the ability to turn not so good situations into very good ones. One of the best defensive coordinators in the sport. He's old. He's not going to be here long term, but he's a guy that the Giants should give a look, I think. At least for 2 or 3 years. Coffee reminder, Hot Shot. Hot Shot's always looking out for me. Always looking out for me, Hot Shot. It's going to get cold. I got to drink it. Oh, Chris Devin, man, thanks for love, man. He says, $2 super chat, you can't forget about it. He says, you, MD, NCOP, and Louis T are my faves, shaking my head. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. And I will, I'll definitely mention, a lot of people talk about Louis T. I'll definitely try to reach out to him and a couple other guys. I want to work with, some other guys I've never worked with before. Another thing I want to do, Super Bowl Sunday, the 2-week gap. Last year I did it a bit. I want to have like a new YouTuber on once every other night, like 5 or 6 YouTubers on, previewing the game, talking about the game, and talking whoever their team is and the Giants as well. But that's another thing I want to do Super Bowl weekend, the 2 weeks leading up into the Super Bowl. Maybe I'll have one of them on during that. Thank you so much, man, HC, for the $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. Could Joe Brady still be a candidate for OC? I personally think not. I don't think he was ever going to be the offensive coordinator. I think that was a pie-in-the-sky idea from everything you read at LSU. It seemed like he was going to stay there, even if we hired a Don Wink Martindale. But I could be wrong. Anything's possible. But I wouldn't count on it. But anything's possible. Like I said, I'm not going to be shocked. Let's put it this way. I would be if you would have told me when the coaching search began, what's more likely? We get Brady as the OC or Joe Judge as the head coach? I would say Brady. So anything's possible. It could happen. I'm down if you want me to make an appearance. Fizzle, yeah, for sure, man. I definitely have you on. Whether it's during the Super Bowl or whatever. Yeah, man, I'd love to have you on. You always support my channel. You're always in here. You always show love. Yeah, I always try to have as many people on as I can. It's just I'm always busy between work and making videos and live streaming because I'm a lunatic. But yeah, I'd love to have you on at some point for sure, man. Chris Jones says Jason Garrett can clap his way to the Giant. Yeah, Chris Leone. I wouldn't mind. A lot of people laugh about Jason Garrett, and I know a lot of people hear the name and they cringe. But I wouldn't mind Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator. I keep reiterating that. I think he'd be a pretty good hire as an offensive coordinator, just not the head coach. As long as he don't be the head coach. You can be the OC. Let's see. Hey Chris, I would do it. Don't worry about it, man. New York Giants, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching all my videos. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for coming into my live streams. And Nick the Wick, man, thanks for love, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. If Clowney is a free agent, Judge needs to go all in. Yes, Clowney is a beast. Even though that was a bit of a dirty hit against Carson Wentz, but no, Clowney's a beast. And a lot of people don't give him his just due because he doesn't get a lot high sack numbers, but he creates a lot of pressure. I'm a big fan of Clowney. Every time I watch the guy play, he does damage. I don't think he's going to be available. I think the Seahawks are going to retain him. They traded for him. They gave up a lot to get him. I think he'll stay in Seattle. But if you guys don't know the name, and you're probably not going to know how to spell it, Yannick Ngakoue. That's a guy that I think is going to be available. And that is a guy that I think the New York Giants should attack. And I'm going to have a video up on him very shortly after the coaching search. I'm a big fan. And I think the Giants should go after him. He's been in the league now for 4 years. I think all 4 years he's had at least 8.5 sacks. He's shown consistency. He's the type of player the New York Giants could use. And that's a guy that I could see the Giants going after for sure. Yannick Ngakoue. Yes, I like Littleton as well. Yannick Ngakoue, yes. Yes. Bring back Spags for sure, man. I don't know how to spell his name. Alex, just go on the Jaguars roster and look for Yannick. That's his first name. Yannick. Yannick. So, there you go. Let's see. Would you tag Leonard Williams? I would, possibly, yes. And that is the one thing that we gain from that trade, the ability to tag him. The only thing you have to risk with that is you risk him potentially holding out. But, yeah, I'd be completely for tagging Leonard Williams. Yeah, if there was one player on this team that you would take, it would be him. Or, I guess, Marcus Golden. One of those two. But one of those two they could tag. Yeah, Joe, I'm a big Littleton guy. I'd love to make an appearance as well. Starting some Giant stuff soon. Gino, I'll definitely check out the channel when you start getting content. Let me know. What's up, Sam? Well, Sam, yeah, I mean, another thing I probably plan on doing right now when I have people on, I want it to be content creators. I want it to be people who have channels. I want to try to help them out, have their channels grow. I want to talk about their teams, whatever else. But one thing I have thought about doing in the past is I want it to be organized, and I don't want it to just be a cluster, a mess. But is having video call-ins from subscribers, people who get to come on the channel, show your face for about 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's one thing I've thought about. If I get that started, that will be in the offseason when I have time and everything else. But that's one thing I've thought about doing. And if that's the case, yeah, you'll be on that for sure. Tana, are you going live with Bad Dog Lakers Knicks? What time is that game tonight? I just felt like this was way too important not to do a live stream today. Obviously we hired our head coach. I would. But Bad Dog, we didn't talk about that. But the thing is, I got to get up early tomorrow, so I wasn't prepared to do that. But the next time they play the Knicks, they play them twice. I'll do it because it'll be Easter time, so I will do it next time. Let's see. How is he missing that question? What question am I missing? If the Giants were able to be convinced by Judge to steer away from Rhule, do you think the players will be motivated to see what he's going to bring, especially the young defensive core? Huh. Chuck, I honestly don't know. But I hope anything to get these guys motivated. From everything I've read about Judge, I do think he's going to be a guy like a Rhule that is going to motivate players. And he's a guy, from what everyone says, players relate to. So I do think players are going to relate to him. I think he's going to motivate players. He may not be as good as Rhule. I mean, I was really impressed with Rhule. Some of those speeches I saw him give, he's a guy that I'd run through a brick wall for. And that was part of the attraction for me. But we'll see, man. We'll see how it plays out. But hopefully he can motivate players. What is going on, Ryan Clay and my man Goats in the house, Savage Boz in the house. Joe Judge and Daniel Jones, how do they relate? How do they relate? Well, one's the head coach, the other's the quarterback. No, I mean, I don't think Joe Judge is going to be the guy that they brought in here for Daniel Jones to thrive. I think it's going to be the offensive coordinator that's going to be the guy that's for Daniel Jones. Joe Judge doesn't really have much of a background in quarterbacks like a Pat Shurmur had. But that's not a bad thing. You could have an offensive coordinator that's the guy that puts Daniel Jones in the position to succeed. So that's going to be vital. The offensive coordinator is going to be of significant importance. Whoever we bring in here, it's got to be a guy that could set Daniel Jones up for success. We should have kept Pat. Yeah, but it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. Pat Shurmur as the OC. Lakers play the Knicks today. Score prediction. Lakers win by 1,000. Between 1,000 and 1,200. Lakers win. Judge is definitely going to help Slayton. Yeah, wide receiver coach. Hopefully helps a bunch of the receivers for sure. Dave, man, thanks for love, man. $5 super chat bends the knees. Jewish lettering is in the house. What's going on, buddy? He says Rhule rephrases. It's either the Giants, Baylor, or $70 million. 95% of the time it's the money. Best thing about Judge, he's not Garrett, our nightmare. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think after everybody heard Jason Garrett, they could have said the entertainer talking sports is going to be the head coach, and everybody would have breathed a sigh of relief. Once we heard that Jason Garrett was coming in for an interview, it didn't matter who they were announcing to be the head coach. Everyone was like, well, that could, yeah. I don't even know who that guy is, but he's leaps and bounds better than Jason Garrett. But no, I think that Matt Rhule certainly tried to use leverage to get the New York Giants to, because he knew they were desperate to give him more money. That's for sure. I would love Conklin rather. The only thing I worry about that is the ACL injury. Let's see what we got here. Chris, if the Giants have another bad season, does this new coach buy Gettleman at least one more year? Not necessarily. I don't think Gettleman was the guy that brought in the coach. I think it was the owners. So not necessarily. Expectations for Andrew Thomas next year. Will he make an immediate impact for the Giants? If you're taking a guy number 4 overall, he better make an immediate impact for the Giants. He's rated one of the best offensive tackles in the sport, in college over the last 5 or 6 years. He should. As highly regarded as he is, he should make an immediate impact. And Chris, man, thanks for the love, man. Great supporter. Did I miss one? I just want to make sure I didn't miss one. I don't think I did. I think that was David Big. Yeah, okay. Great supporter of mine. New York Giants season ticket holder. I think he is. He says he goes to all the games. Thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat, Benzanese. Says, only problem I have is he's wearing a visor. Get yourself a full-fledged hat, friend. Commit. Go big or go home. You know who you sound like, Chris, with that quote? I don't know if you're a stand-up comedian fan. My favorite stand-up comic of all time is George Carlin. And he had a whole spiel about the visors. What's with it? It's like a half a hat. Get yourself one of those yarmulkes. And, hold on. Get yourself one of those yarmulkes and staple it to the visor. You got yourself a full-fledged hat. But, George Carlin's the man. Amen on Carlin, but yeah, I love George Carlin. Yeah, George Carlin's the greatest of all time, Nick. Greatest. I got to see him live before he died, which one of the best, coolest things I ever saw. I was a huge fan of Carlin. I also saw Bill Burr, who I love. What's your prediction for the Packers Seahawks? Packers at Lambeau Field. What's going on there, Schlake Smith? That's around when I saw him. I saw him at Westbury Theater on Long Island. Right around then. Probably right around then, 2004. Chris, what do you think about bringing in Dexter Fowler? Another guy with huge upside. Third overall pick. He's been moved around in the league, and he's a guy I've mentioned. He's definitely another potential target for the Giants, depending on the price. Oh, his HBO specials were the best, man. Loved them. Ernesto, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. Carlin's 7 dirty words. Yes. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but yes. Another great there's so many. The 10 Commandments, baseball versus football. If you guys are Carlin fans, how the hell did George Carlin remember that whole spiel when he compared baseball and football? How? It was like 4 minutes. Obviously he was making fun of baseball, calling it like a pussy sport. When they go home, everybody wants to go home. I don't remember the whole spiel, but it was great. And Shake Money, thanks for that, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, in my opinion, Rodney Dangerfield is up there. Rodney Dangerfield is phenomenal. Another great stand-up comic. Let's see what we got here. Said about Rhule, but I guess we didn't need a guarantee coach that much money. Yeah, and Rhule was like all the coaches on this list. They all had their risks. Rhule was my guy. I didn't hide that, but this guy Joe Judge could be great too. But Giants trade the 4th pick. If they trade, I think it'll be trading down. What's going on, Afghanistan? Thanks for love, man. Yeah, guys, if you haven't done so, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. Eddie Murphy's fantastic too. Never got to see him live. I saw Charlie Murphy live. Never got to see Eddie Murphy live. But yeah, I got to see Charlie Murphy live before he passed. He was pretty funny. I've seen a bunch, but I've never seen Eddie Murphy. What's going on, Alex Sports? Stand up! What's up, Alex Sports? Thanks for popping in the stream. Poppy says, do you think Gettleman will let Joe Judge control who we pick in the draft? I think he'll give him say. I don't think Joe. I think it'll be a collaboration. I don't think Joe Judge will have, full authority, but I think they'll talk it over. What was your reaction when Shermer was hired? What was my reaction when Shermer was hired? I wouldn't say it was like jumping for joy, but I didn't hate it. I looked at it as a guy. He had a lot of success with the quarterback before with Case Keenum. I thought he was going to come in here and do some good things for the offense. Unfortunately, the offensive line was not good, and we couldn't get things going. But, yeah, I didn't hate the hire when they made it. I wouldn't say I would have loved it, but I didn't hate it. Hire Belichick as the GM, Mikey says. Sure. If he wants to take that, absolutely. Why not? Why not? Do you think Garrett would want the OC job? Possibly. Possibly. He may take a year off similar to McCarthy, though, and try to get a head coaching job. But the thing is, Garrett's not nearly as accomplished as McCarthy. I think if Garrett wants a head coaching job, it's very possible he's going to have to work his way back up to a coordinator position. That's just my opinion. He didn't leave off on the best of terms with the Cowboys. Thank you very much, Alex, man. I appreciate that, man. Could the wide receiver coach, could Judy or Yes. Somebody asked me that earlier, Eric Chavez. It's possible, being that he's a former wide receiver coach, being that the Giants are in a prime position to take a wide receiver at number 4. It's possible. He also has ties to Alabama, which I talked about, and they could take Judy. Anything's possible. We're going to have to wait and see. I wouldn't rule it out, though. It's definitely possible we take a wide receiver at 4, or it could trade down and take a wide receiver at like 7 or 8. Thank you, Big Bang, man. Thanks for love, man. I appreciate that. $5 Super Chat, Benzanese. Does this prove what the ESPN idiot said about the Giants' job being the worst one out there? Judge couldn't have been at the top of our list. Listen, man, I'm always honest. Giants fans may not want to hear it. I don't know if it was the worst job. I don't think it was the worst job. I think Cleveland's the worst job, personally. Well, Cleveland has talent, though. But nobody wants to go to Cleveland, it seems. It's not a great job right now. It could be a great job in the future. Right now, it's not a great job. But if they have a great draft, these players get better, Daniel Jones takes another step forward, the defense improves, it could be a very attractive job next year. So, jobs change on a year-in, year-out basis. But this offseason, if I was being completely honest, I didn't think it was a very attractive job, which is why I worried about firing Shermer in the first place. But I do like that the Giants took a shot here. They didn't go for the safe, boring hire. They took a shot here. So I do like what they did. Chris Nail, man, thanks for the love, man. $2 Super Chat. You can forget about it. He says, you see Sharp smoke Scandrick yesterday? No. No, I didn't. I didn't. No, I didn't. Chris, I didn't. But I will have to take a look at that. No, I you're talking about Shannon Sharp, I assume. I didn't get to see that. What's going on, Nick Young? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Who should the Browns hire? My guess is the Browns are going to probably hire McDaniels. You've heard that a lot. They're going to want an offensive mind for all those offensive weapons they go over there. Check out I will check it out. What's going on, New Jersey? Jake? Do you think Judge was our guy all along? I think Judge was much higher on the list than a lot of people thought, obviously. And it's possible that Rhule was media-driven and fan-driven, and he was never as high as people thought on their list. Maybe they had them as like a neck and neck, which is why they waited as long as they did to set up an interview for Rhule. It's possible. But I do think, obviously, they were much higher on Judge than all of us thought. which is why they let McCarthy walk, go to Dallas. We'll see. Yeah, I think they were eyeing Judge, much like they were eyeing Daniel Jones in the draft. What's going on? Jack, thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Shermer's Browns offensive coordinator, OBJ connection. Possible. Obviously, he's coached for the Browns before as a head coach. That didn't work out well, but I've been on record saying I think Shermer's a very good offensive coordinator. I thought he would have been a really good hire for the Redskins had they chosen to do so. Being that Dwayne Haskins, young quarterback, he's shown that he's had great success with young quarterbacks in the past. That could make sense. Pat Shermer going over there with Baker Mayfield. It's not a bad suggestion, actually. What's up, everybody? What is going on, Johnny boy? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Where's Eli going? I think he's going to retire. Personally. I was really upset about Judge at first, but I'm getting more optimistic. Yeah, Joe, I completely get it. And anybody that's still upset, I completely get it. He's not the safest of hires. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know he's going to be great, but I'm also going to tell you relax and let's see the plan. Let's see the coordinators they bring in, and let's see what the kid's got. You got to give him an opportunity. That's all I'm going to say. You got to give him a chance. And Chris Bracker, man, I really appreciate that, man. $1 super chat, man. Thanks so much for the love, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being a great supporter of the channel. Stand up, Rocha. Thanks for popping in, Rocha. Another great channel over there. Go check him out. I would trade with the Chargers, and Chargers, I missed what you said there. Oh, Chargers trade down to 6, Mike. Yeah, if they're willing to move up to 4 to get a quarterback, certainly a possible destination. Whitney, what's going on? This since been a call. What's up? I did a call-in show a couple weeks ago. I'll be doing another one probably in another week or two. I'll probably do a call-in show once a month. Those just it takes a lot of energy to do those call-in shows. But I probably will do another one in a couple of weeks. But the Q&As I really like doing because I get to talk to everybody. I get to answer a lot of questions. It's a lot of fun for me. I get to spend a lot of time on questions. So I really do enjoy the Q&As. I could see the Chargers trading up for Tua, Mo says. Certainly possible. Certainly possible the Chargers could trade up for Tua. What's up, man? Ever worried Saquon will leave? It's possible. We don't know. Right now, you may think there's no way Saquon could leave. But if Dave Gettleman is fired in a year, Dave Gettleman's the guy that drafted Saquon Barkley. So look what Dave Gettleman did when he came in. He got rid of all Jerry Reese's guys. So who's to say that the new GM in a year or two, if Gettleman is fired, won't get rid of all of Gettleman's guys? So, there's no guarantees in the NFL. What's up, man? Let's see what we got here. Where is Brady going? Probably staying with the Patriots if I had to guess, but there's been rumors about the Chargers. There's been rumors about the Raiders. Who knows? Who knows? But I think if he keeps playing, it'll be with the Patriots. Who is your perfect pick at 4? Realistically, assuming obviously Chase Young doesn't drop, which I don't think will happen, I'm still leaning Andrew Thomas, but I would not be upset at all with Isaiah Simmons. And that could change week to week. After the combine, I could completely change my opinion. Mike, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat. Benzanese. He says, I see a possible strength being a special teams coach for that many years. You see so many different players and skill levels. So Mike, I guess, is a special teams coach. And it might have been you. I don't remember. Somebody commented, and it probably was, because I don't know how many special teams people are subscribers of mine. And I did research, and I saw a lot of people share the mindset that the subscriber shared, said in my comment. And it was a great point. Special teams coaches are they're very, very well versed on both sides of the football. Obviously, they deal with both the offense and defense. So, in a way, they could be more qualified than like a quarterback coach, for example. So, it's a good point, man. It's a good point that you brought up there. Let's see what we got here. Max, I answered that earlier, but out of the names that I've heard, I wouldn't be upset with Jason Garrett as the OC. I just wouldn't. And Gruden. Gruden's probably my number 1, though. Rudy T, what's going on, my man? $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, I am a staunch optimist. All will be well. G-Men for life. And I know that, man. Rudy T is the man. Great, great supporter of my channel. Always shows a lot of love. Been with me since the beginning. Yeah, man. You know what? Got to be optimistic, man. Things have been so tough for us. And we got to hope it works out, man. And Rudy always brings that positivity to the channel. And I appreciate it, man, because you deal with a lot of negative fans in New York. And I get it. I completely understand it. Believe me. 8 years of horrible football, you guys have a right to be negative. But Rudy T definitely brings that optimistic. What's going on? Why do you think Bill Belichick's coaching tree hasn't worked out? You know what? Your guess is as good as mine. The only answer, the only guess I could have for that. Now, I will say Flores. I said it earlier. Great rookie year. You look at the record, you're like 5-11. What are you talking about? That was a team that was not supposed to win a game. So Brian Flores certainly looked really good in his debut season with the Dolphins. But overall, yeah, it's been underwhelming, the coaching tree for Belichick. But, I mean, maybe it's that he makes his coaches look better than what they really are, just like he does his players. Belichick's a genius, you know? So that may be the answer. Who knows? Coffee reminder. Hotshot is the man. This is getting cold, Hotshot. I would go with Jack Conklin over Byron Jones. It's a more important position, as long as he's healthy. Hot Take Hockey. What's going on, HTAs? Thanks for popping in the stream. If you guys have not done so, going over to that channel. Love that guy. He says, who finishes with the better record next year, Panthers or Giants? That's a good question. Because the Panthers, I don't know. It's tough for me to say because I don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Panthers. I don't know if it's going to be Newton. I don't know if it's going to be Kyle Allen. I don't know if it's going to be a rookie. I don't know their schedule. But if I'm being fair right now, I'd probably lean Panthers. But who knows, man? The football's crazy. Things could change. I wish the Giants would come out with a black alternative jerseys. I never thought about that. I guess the lettering would be white. It's interesting. Thank you, Big Bang, for the $2 super chat. You can forget about it. Genius couldn't figure out how to stop Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, to me, you're talking about our head coach. Well, he's not the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, but Derrick Henry is the league leader. One of my favorite players in the league, Derrick Henry. I love watching him play. Reminds me, obviously a better version, but he reminds me of Brandon Jacobs. Big running back that barrels people over. Let's see what we got here. I could see Bill Belichick taking a front office position with the New York Giants. I could see it, Tom. It's certainly possible. Going to sleep and have a good night. You too, Justin Roman, man. Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. Is there anyone more down to earth than Chris? Respect. I appreciate that, Gregor, man. Thanks for being a part of the channel, buddy. Let's see what we got here. Red, white, and blue trim. The lettering, red, white, and blue trim. Black jersey. Okay. You guys got to show me. You got to show me a demo before I give it the entertainer stamp of approval. You got to show me a demo. You meant Belichick. Okay, you meant Belichick. Thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, the Patriots kind of fell apart this year. I still think Belichick's phenomenal. Obviously, phenomenal head coach. But that defense, it's weird because that defense, the first half, and obviously they played very weak opponents, but they were the best defense like ever over the first half of the season. And then something happened after that Ravens game, And HHC, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, watch out for Joe Moorhead as OC for Mississippi State. Well, obviously the connection there, and I will look into him. Joe Moorhead, Mississippi State. Interesting. Didn't even think about that connection. Obviously the connection there is our head coach, Joe Judge, went to Mississippi State, and he was almost going to be the head coach there. So that's an interesting one. I will look into him. That's a good suggestion. I like that one. Chris, make your membership available to sign up on mobile. I don't know how to do that, New York for Life, but I will look into it. I don't know how to do that. I guess it's only on the computer that you can do it. I don't know. Josh Satori, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, what about drafting a backup for Saquon? I've been saying now, and Josh, man, thank you for all your incredible generosity for the channel. I've been saying since last offseason that we need to focus more on the backup running back. We need a short yardage guy. We need a guy that can spell Saquon Barkley. And I think that Wayne Gallman has not done it. He's had fumbling problems. He hasn't been good. I think that the Giants need to use one of those late round picks on a running back this year. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. They have I think they have like 3 7th round picks. You could use one there, 6th round, late in the draft. Get a running back, give him a shot. I'm all for that. I don't want to spend a lot in free agency on the running back because we have much bigger problems. But I do think we could use a backup to spell Barkley for sure with a late round pick. Chris, are you streaming the game? Yes, I'm streaming all the games this weekend. The only reason I didn't stream the game Sunday, my dog was sick, so that was the reason. Had she not been sick, I would have done the Sunday games. And Rudy T says, watch Joe Judge was sent by Belichick as a placeholder for when the hood is ready with the right color blue would be the ultimate mastermind plan. The whole Rudy, man, you're getting very optimistic. Christopher, I understand it's a new coaching staff, but I believe we need to get to 6 to 10 wins this season. The rebuilding is on a damn tail end. David, and I know all New York Giants fans are going to share that sentiment. And I'm with you, man. I don't want to see another 4 or 5 win season. I want to see at least 6, 7, 8 wins. And we need to see progress. And I think we could. A lot of it's going to rest on the shoulder of Daniel Jones. That's all I can say. A lot of it's going to rest on the shoulder of Daniel Jones. Rumors that Judge is trying to bring Steve Belichick as the DC. Heard anything on that? That's now the second person, Kevin, that has posted that. I'm going to look into that. And if that does have some traction, I will make a video on that. I'll have that up tomorrow for sure in the morning. I'll have a few videos up, and that'll be one of them. If there is some traction to that. That's a very interesting name for sure. I got to do a little more research on Belichick. Belichick's son, of course, but I will have a video on that. Anyone know when bad? I have no idea, Chris Devers. He usually goes on 15 minutes before the game. Breaking news, Giants fire. Well, thank you for letting me know, Bavit. That really helps me out. What's going on, Mustard Bus? Carolina Pant, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, Mustard Bus. They took Matt Rhule from us. No, but congratulations. You guys, I'm sure Panthers fans are excited. You got yourself a good, good prospect there. I was a big fan of Matt Rhule. Let's see what we got here. I'd rather have Judge as our head coach. Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. Burn him at the stake, Hotshot says. You're still entertaining me. That's all right, Krista. What is going on, Isaiah? My man. He says, White Chocolate, can you please sing Candy Shop for the haters? And I'll take you to the candy shop. I'm not going to say the rest because I don't want to get you too excited, Isaiah. But thank you for popping in the stream. I am loving the Rule hire. Hope he keeps Cam. We'll have to wait and see, man. I'm looking for spare cannolis, anyone. Who is Joe Judge? In case you didn't watch my video, Joe Judge is a former football player, played for Mississippi State, was a special teams coordinator for Alabama under Nick Saban for about 3 or 4 years. Then he was the special teams coordinator for the New England Patriots, of course, under Bill Belichick, I think for 6 years. I think he won 3 Super Bowls as a special teams coordinator. This year he was in charge of both the wide receivers and the special teams. So he has experience under arguably the greatest college coach in my lifetime and the greatest NFL head coach in my lifetime. He's also getting a doctorate as in education, so he's incredibly smart, intelligent. And yeah, that's some points to talk about with Joe Judge. What's going on, diehard Giants fan? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Honestly, I'm excited in a scary and good way. I think we all are. It's an unknown, man. Danny Dimes is in the chat. $5 super chat bends the knees. He says Judge is a crispy cannoli. Let's do it, man. We got to give him a shot, man. And you know what? You know what I'm incredibly encouraged by? When I made the video today, I had no idea what the response was going to be by Giants fans. No idea. Because I think when people first heard the news, and maybe it was because of when I released it, because I was at work, I didn't release it as soon as it came out. Because it seemed like when the news broke, Giants fans were going crazy. And I didn't hate the hire. And, maybe it was because I released the video like 6 hours after the fact, 7, whenever it was. But I was I was very curious to see what the response would be. Giants fans seem very optimistic about this hire. Very excited and optimistic about this hire, which is nice to see. It's nice to see that. And hopefully it works out, man. I think Giants fans are excited for something new and fresh and a change in a different type of direction, a young head coach. It's really something that we've never tried before. So I think people are excited about it. And we'll see if it works out. Coffee sip. Thank you for letting me know, Gino. I appreciate that. Oh, the Italian goon out of Long Island, Pavith. The Italian goon out of Long Island. What is going on, Barboski? Any word on the current coordinators? Why haven't they been released? Scares me. They're gone. Barboski, don't worry about it. I promise you. I don't promise you because I don't want to be a liar. But they're gone. They are gone. We're going to have new coordinators. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Ballsy move by the Giants here. Yeah, it was definitely a ballsy move. What's up, Angel? Thanks for popping in. I have a gut feeling this could be the start of something really great. I sure hope so, man. And in anything in life, you got to be willing to take a risk. If you want to do something you love, you got to go all in, and that's what the Giants tried to do here. They went for their guy, and hopefully they were right. Chris, do you trust they get it? Chris, I missed what you said there, Isaiah. Rocha says, I don't mind that hiring for the Giants. It's very risky, but he gets to bring in a brand new staff. Should be interesting. Should be exciting, and it should be fun. Let's just hope it works out. Chris still hasn't said hi to me. Andy Garcia. Haven't seen you, man. I'm sure you've been typing. Thanks for popping in the stream. Great supporter of my channel. Always in the Discord. One of my best subscribers. Thanks for being here, my man. Let's see what we got here. Did they go for their guy, or do they go plan B once Rhule signed? And I saw Christian Orr here as well. I want to say hi to him. I saw him posting the members link. Thank you for that. Hold on. Let me answer that again. Let's see. Did they go for their guy, or did they go for plan B once Rhule was signed? I don't know. That's a good question. Here's what I'm going to say. I don't think they were as in love with Rhule as a lot of people thought. Because if they were, I think they would have been willing to spend that money to bring him in. So maybe it was more like a plan A and a plan 1A. I think they were really high on this guy. What's going on there, Stealth Raven? Thanks for popping in the stream. And I see that Jedi popped into the stream. Thank you for being here. We've been here, Tana. Yeah, word. I saw you too. I try to shout out everybody. I know there's a lot of people in here. Dire Giants fan, V-Man Entertainment. Hope he works out. Please take as many of the Pats coaches with you. Yeah, of course. V-Man's a big Jets fan. Thanks for being here. Let's see what we got here. Could the Judge have a Matt LaFleur type of season being a rookie head coach? Anything's possible, Angel Gonzalez. But one thing I'm going to say, Matt LaFleur, in my opinion, and I'm not saying he's not a good head coach. He certainly could be. But I look at what he accomplished. First off, the Green Bay Packers, and I picked the Packers preseason to go to Super Bowl. I loved what they did in the offseason. But they spent a ton of money on that defense, similar to what we did the first year that we brought in, obviously McAdoo. They bought Zadarius Smith. They brought Adrian Amos. They bought Preston Smith. They spent a ton of money on the defense. So we'll see if it translates into the second year. They really bought that defense. So that doesn't always work out long term. So we'll see. If Judge flops, is Mara the next Dolan? Well, Mara's not going to fire himself. Do you think this could be possible to bring in Belichick? Maybe not this year, but maybe in a couple years. It's possible. As a somewhere in the front office, it's possible. Jerry Jeudy. Everybody's saying Jerry Jeudy. We'll see. I do think that Garrett would be a solid OC. Somebody asked that. I do think he'd be a solid OC. Thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget me. Says, what about JC or just NFC? Listen, I'm always open to working with Jet Central. I think I've kind of haven't been able to talk to him as much as I have in the past. I think JC's got one of the best channels on YouTube. I say that all the time. He's a great guy, and I think he's got a fantastic channel. I think he's awesome. I think he's arguably the best video maker on YouTube. I really respect his channel. Any news on Eli Manning? Nothing right now, but I think if I had to guess, I think he retires, but we'll see. Dig the hire, but don't be like Mangini and McDaniels trying to act like Belichick, just be himself. Exactly. That was the problem that other coaches in the past have had when they left Belichick. Got to be yourself. Don't try to mimic him. And Rudy T with the $2 super chat, you can forget about it. He says, within 3 years, 2 judges in New York will have rings. Rudy, you know I'm a Met fan. Don't tease me. As long as the Mets get a ring within the next 3 years, Aaron Judge can have one. But we got to get a ring. I haven't seen one since I've been alive. Let me get a ring. But thanks for that, man. I really appreciate that, bro. What's going on, Junior? Thanks for popping in. Howdy there, Chris Orr. I'm always here. I always comment on every post, and I like it. I appreciate that, NY Giants, man. Horrible. Hey, man, listen, Ella, I definitely understand your opinion. A lot of people are going to think this is a horrible hire, and all I can say is we got to see how it plays out. I'm not going to say he's a bad coach before he even gets an opportunity to coach the New York Giants. But I understand your thought process. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm also not going to say you're right yet. Bigger Mike, hello to you. Thank you for popping into the stream. Mets, Bang says, and Bigger Mike's the man. Of course, created my Discord. By the way, if anybody wants to join the Discord, I'm sure somebody could post a link. Some of my best subscribers are in here from my Discord. I don't ever try to ignore anybody. I try to say hello to everybody. King Trizzy in the house. What's going on, King Trizzy? Thanks for popping in the stream. Let's see what we got here. Can the Giants fans stop hating on Judge? Special teams are for special people. And say hi to Bigger Mike, you loon. Chris Sonor. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I got to give Judge a chance. That's all I'm going to keep saying. I think Rashard's still in play. You know, I haven't heard anything, but obviously they interviewed him. Obviously they have some kind of interest with Rashard. It would be a promotion for him. He's not a defensive coordinator with the Cowboys. I think it's certainly a possibility, and I think it's something the Giants should think about. I like him. I've been saying that for weeks. Brian Schottenheimer for OC. Anything's possible. Merry Thanksgiving, yes. And there's the Discord link. Thanks, post that, Mike. And what's going on, Josh Story says, what about AJ? Yes. People have asked me about him. The only thing I'm going to say about that, and thanks for the love, I don't think he's a 3-4 guy. If the Giants move to the 4-3, maybe. He's definitely a very good player, and he's a guy that New York Giants fans would like, but I don't think he fits the 3-4 defense. I think he's a 4-3 defensive end, but if the Giants convert it to the 4-3, it's a guy we could look at, and we don't know what we're going to do yet. We don't know who the defensive coordinator is yet, so we're going to have to wait and see. Did you hear that Joe flipped a Bama player over a bet? Yes, I did. I didn't get to read the article, but I saw the headline. Karambite. And Jedi, thank you for posting the Discord. I heard something about Bill Belichick turning to Judge for big in-game decisions. What do you think about that? I didn't even get a chance to hear about that, TC, but if that's true, that's friggin' awesome. I mean, obviously he's got a lot of respect for... Obviously Belichick has a lot of respect for this guy. He went to the Giants and he told him, you know, from all accounts, he told him this guy has great potential to be a head coach. So, obviously Belichick's got a lot of respect for this guy. Let's see what we got here. Brady from LSU. Yeah, somebody asked me about him earlier. Anything's possible. It's definitely potentially in play. I don't think it's going to happen. But anything's possible. Breaking news, Joe Judge has hired me as the... Oh, okay, Mike Nixon. Good to hear that. How do you think DJ will adjust to the possible offense that can be completely different? Listen, easy. That is something that I've expressed that I have at least minor concerns about year two. You look at the history of football, a lot of quarterbacks struggle when there's coaching changes. A lot of quarterbacks struggle year two regardless. But when you got to learn a whole new playbook, Jones may go through growing pains. We'll have to wait and see. That's one thing, like I said earlier in the stream, they have to consider bringing a guy that they think could get the most out of Daniel Jones as an offensive coordinator. Thank you so much, Tovar, for the love, man. I really appreciate that. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, always enjoy the vids. Great job, man. Go Big Blue. Let me get a sip of water. I really appreciate that, though. Thank you for the love. And I'm going to have a lot more videos out tomorrow. I might have a Steve Belichick, depending on, what I read. If it's like, if it's anything of, substance, I'll make a video on that. I'm going to have a pros and cons video out on our new head coach. I don't know when the press conference is going to be. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I'll have a video out on that. And you know me, guys. If you're a subscriber of my channel, you know I'm going to have a lot of videos out. I always try to have at least 2, if not 4, Giants videos out a day. And I'm going to give you guys a lot of off-season coverage this year. I'm going to have profile videos out on draft prospects all off-season, free agent profile videos out. I'm going to have a lot of off-season coverage. So, thank you guys for being great supporters of the channel. If you haven't done so, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. I'll tell you what, Gino, he's done a great job on special teams. That's been one of our only strong points. What if Eli Manning got hired as a Q? Not going to happen. I don't think it'll happen. Thank you, QC, for the love, man. I really appreciate that. You got it, Word, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber. And Jeff, man, thanks for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. No, New York City Dreams. I don't know how many people are in here, but when there's like 700-800 people in here, it's not easy for me to read every comment. I try my best, but no, I've been responding to tons of people that don't donate. And thanks for the super chat. He says, what if Judge falls in love with a quarterback in the draft? Well, I would think one of the prerequisites before the draft was that you have to accept Daniel Jones. I personally don't think the Giants would have brought him on if that wasn't the case. Just my opinion. I think that he'll be back. I think that Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback. I don't think they would have brought him on as the head coach if that was the case. And that's another thing I don't think people took into account. Who knows what these other potential coaches thought of Daniel Jones? What if Bieniemy told him, I can't tell you for sure that Daniel Jones is my guy going forward? You don't know. So that's another thing people need to take into account. You don't know what was said in the interviews. Can you stream the Knicks-Lakers with Bad Dog? The thing is, I got to be up earlier tomorrow. I wasn't prepared to do that. So probably not tonight, but the next time the Knicks play the Lakers, I will. I would do it. Eli making a comeback. Let's see what we got here. Under the radar OC for the Giants, Pete Carmichael Jr. from the Saints. That's the name I've heard a lot about, and another guy maybe I'll take a look at, Angel. Any suggestions you guys have, I always like to make videos on them. So I'll probably put a community post up, and any offensive and defensive coordinators that you guys are interested in me making videos on, by all means, shout them out. I'll also have a video on Garrett as well. Hopefully we don't stick with Daniel. We're gonna stick with Daniel. We spent the 6th overall pick on the kid. The guy threw 24 touchdowns. He's gonna get another year, for sure. He's gonna get another couple of years. Let's see what we got here. Judge ready to rule over New York. Case closed. I love it. I love the court references. I love it. Love it. Chris, can you make a vid about Saban being a potential offensive coordinator? I don't see it being a possibility. If you're Nick Saban, you're making millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in Alabama. You're a god. Why would you leave that to be an offensive coordinator? It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I would love it. It's not going to happen. Let's see what we got here. Resign Rosas or no? Again, wouldn't be against it. I don't love Rosas, but he's sucked this year. But I think the Giants are going to give him one more year. He's a Pro Bowler the year before. I'm not a fan of the Judge hire. Go. I get it. I think I think he's a hit or miss for people. I think he's the type of guy that no matter what, you have to see it through. You have to give him a chance. There's not any history there. So, like Garrett, there's a history. Like, there's a definitive reason not to like Jason Garrett or to like him based on his history. There's no history here with this guy. So, he's kind of a guy like a Mike Tomlin. Like, here's what I'm going to say to GOAT and a lot of people that don't like this hire. If you're being completely honest with yourself, if you go back in time when Mike Tomlin was hired, you probably would have the same exact thought process with Mike Tomlin as you do with Judge. So, obviously, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You got to let it play out. You got to see what happens. Have you made a video on players you think they should dump or keep? I've talked about it. I have not made a specific video on it. Once the coaching staff is in place, once I know the defensive system, because a lot of that, especially for a guy like a Marcus Golden, if they're in the 4-3, dump them. So I need to know what defensive system they're in. But there's certainly some guys that I think they should dump, and I will look into it, and I'll make a video on it. I probably will make a video on that after the coaching search and everything else. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's see what we got here. What do you think about LaFleur for OC? Another guy I got to look more into to give you a good answer for that. I think the hire was better than overpaying for a guy like Rhule, who has 1 year. Listen, you could certainly argue that Rhule, yes, he's a head coach, so you have him there. He has head coaching experience. But in terms of NFL experience, Joe Judge is a lot more than a Rhule. So, it depends on what your preference is. Chris Richard or keep Bet. No, Betcher's gone. Betcher's gone. They're getting rid of Betcher. Wade Phillips is DC. I'd be completely for that. And Tana, do you think that? No, they're not going to announce. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to announce the staff at the press conference. I think that's going to take a few days. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. Do I think the Giants will be a playoff team next year? Impossible for me to answer that right now. But if you ask me right now, probably not. I mean, there's a team that's won 9 games in 2 years, but in the NFL, teams could flip on a dime. It depends on what they do in the offseason with their cap space and everything else. It's possible. Not probable, but possible. Let's see what we got. You need experienced coordinators with a new hire like this. I agree, Troy. That's what I said in my video. I would prefer experienced coordinators. And no, I do not know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. I don't know if they've announced that. I literally made that video when I got home from work. And I set up the live stream. I ate dinner, and I came down here and talked to you guys. Chris, I think we have been better off hiring Judge than McCarthy. Personally, I just don't like McCarthy that much. Think he's a bit overrated, and he wouldn't fit for us. I agree with you. I was not a fan of McCarthy for the Giants. I'm not knocking McCarthy. I get the appeal to McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy wanted to be with the Giants. I don't think the Giants fit McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy fit the Giants. That's just my opinion. I think he was a much better fit with Dallas. I don't think he was ever coming here. I just don't. Obviously, the Giants had to interview him. Does age play a role in the coaching? Yeah. If you listen to Gettleman's comments, he basically said he wanted a young, energetic head coach, a guy that's going to breathe life into this football team. So, yes, I do think that they wanted to go with a more youthful head coach for this job. Absolutely. And, Sonora, thank you for posting that. I really do appreciate that. I feel like McCarthy and Jerry Jones could fit together. They both want too much I feel like McCarthy and Jerry Jones can't. Let me just get a sip of water. I agree with that. Let me just see here. I agree with that unless Jerry Jones is willing to give up some power. My guess is if he got McCarthy, he was willing to do that. But that remains to be seen. How do you think the division goes with 3 out of 4 new head coaches? I think the Redskins are going to be better. The Eagles have to stay healthy. If the Eagles are healthy, they'll be a good football team. And the Cowboys, I think McCarthy, right now, before the draft, before free agency, before even knowing if the Cowboys are going to keep Dak Prescott. So this could completely change in a month or two. I would guess the Cowboys are going to win the division. Right now, if you ask me. Right now. Do you think Jones wins Rookie of the Year? No. No, I think Jacobs wins Rookie of the Year. But Jones had a really good rookie year. Not going to lie, I'm interested to see this hire will work out for you guys. Yeah, it's an exciting hire for sure. And I think that's what a lot of Giants fans are. It's definitely a earthquake type move, right? It's the type of move that's going to bring excitement to the offseason and next year's season for sure. Maybe Judge could teach DJ to hold it high and tight. That's got to be one of the biggest things the New York Giants focus on this offseason is exactly that. History class in high school, yeah, I'm sure it does, Bigger Mike. Been down, nowhere to go but up. That's right, Big Bang. That's right, my man. I like what my Cowboys are doing, letting McCarthy his own. I think they have no choice but to do that. I think for the Cowboys to get a McCarthy, they had to do that. He's not a puppet. He wasn't going to take that job if he was a puppet. I think they had to give him more control than they gave to Garrett. How crazy would it be if McDaniels can't get a head coaching job and comes to New York as an OC for Judge? I don't see that happening. I think why would he leave New England to come to the Giants for the same job? I don't see it. Maybe Joe Judge was gonna. One thing I will say, Joe Judge was going to leave New England to go to Indianapolis with McDaniels, but obviously McDaniels had the higher role. Doubtful. I think McDaniels is going to get a head coaching job with the Browns, actually. Or he just stays on with New England and waits for Bill Belichick to retire. I think that's what you're looking at. Who should we draft? Andrew Thomas right now. Probably the guy that I would say. Right now. I would love to trade down, but Chris Bouchard or Wade Phillips for DC. Those are my 2 names, man. Those are the guys that I like most right now as potential hires. Why doesn't anyone want to coach for Cleveland? Well, you look at that team right now. You got, yes, there's talent, but you're taking on a situation where you have a lot of personalities. You got, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham. It's not like the best locker room culture, if you will. You have a lot of electric personalities. You're also going in there, a high-pressure job. They've gone through 2 coaches now in 2 years. They fired Freddie Kitchens after 1 year. I don't think it's a very attractive job, personally, even though they have talent. Chris won't notice me. Hitbit, what is going on, my man? I just noticed you, buddy. Great subscriber, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. And Danny Thomas with the $2 super chat. You can't forget about it. He says, Chip Kelly for OC. Chip Kelly for OC. Now, there is a guy, and thanks for love, man. I really appreciate that, who failed miserably at the NFL. Now, he had a little success when he first came in, but that offensive system just did not work long term. Nah, I'm not. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not. I'm not a fan of Chip Kelly. I think that's more of a college thing, but anything's possible. But I'm not. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Chip Kelly. What is going on there, Five Gum? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. And you got it, Hitbit. I think you can't hire a coordinator for the same coaching position. It can only be a promotion. For the most part, yes, I agree with that, Rudy Pat. Do you think that Judge flipped an Alabama player over the bench? I read an article. I didn't get to read the article. I saw the headline. I got to look more into that, Chris Leon. Tano, isn't it ironic that Gettleman stated he is willing to relinquish control if needed, and then we hire a head coach with no experience, or maybe it was intentional? Rudy with the conspiracy theories. It's possible. Or maybe they just fell in love with the guy. We'll never know. Who do you want for OC and DC? Jay Gruden. OC. Jay Gruden and I'll say Chris Richard. Out of realistic possibilities. Do you think Rex Ryan? No. Rex Ryan's not going to be our DC. 0%. 0%. I would love it. Rex Ryan's not leaving the booth for a defensive coordinator position. The guy's been a head coach in the NFL. He's had great success. Went to 2 AFC championship games as a head coach. He's getting paid probably millions of dollars on ESPN. He's not leaving that cushy job to be a defensive coordinator. If he's going to leave, it's going to be for a head coach, in my opinion. I'd be shocked. What's up, Glocks? He says, I think the plan was to hire Rhule, but Judge blew them away at the interview, and they didn't let him leave. Very possible. Very possible. Yeah, EDP's that. A lot of people have been asking about Steve Belichick. I'm going to do a video on that. If there, I haven't gotten a chance to read it. People are saying that there's articles about it. If there are, I'll make a video on it. Hal Hunter sucks. Arkham Asylum, he's horrible, and I think he needs to go as well. What's up, Clocks, man? This hire seems like a team in chaos. So sad. Listen, Clocks, I get it. I'm not gonna tell people whether they're right or wrong. All I'm gonna say is give the guy a chance. That's all I'm gonna say. You got to give the guy a chance before you write him off. Like I said, the Steelers head coach, basically identical resumes. Tomlin's been great, so you got to give the guy a chance before you say it's a horrible hire. That's all I'm gonna say. Why Chris Richard? My biggest reason for liking Chris Richard as the defensive coordinator. Look at the New York Giants defense right now. You have a very young secondary. You have a secondary with a lot of potential. First-round draft pick, a first-round draft grade in Sam Beal. First-round draft pick in DeAndre Baker. Julian Love showed some promise. A young secondary. Chris Richard, former defensive back, was a defensive back coach for Seattle. Was widely credited with the Legion of Boom. Then he came over to Dallas. Byron Jones, who was not playing well, got him to a Pro Bowl level his first year as a secondary coach with the Dallas Cowboys. So I think Chris Richard would bring energy. He's young. He specializes specifically in the secondary, something that I think the New York Giants are trying to build their defense around. And that is why I have an attraction to Chris Richard as the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. What's your thoughts on Sterling Shepard? Do you think he can take the leap to be a superstar somehow? If he could stay away from concussion, sure. We'll see. Who do you think we could get as an edge rusher? In free agency, Yannick Ngakoue, I think, is the most obvious answer. I think that would be the guy that we could target. You could look at a couple other guys as well, but Yannick Ngakoue would be my number one guy. Tana, rank the NFC East targets. Rank the NFC East targets. What's going on, LA Lou? And I agree that NFC East quarterbacks, I think you said. Right now, you still got to. I love Daniel Jones. I can't put him above Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz yet, if I'm being completely fair. So I got to put those two above him. I'd have him 3, and I'd have Haskins 4. Even though I think Daniel Jones could certainly pass those guys. You can't say it yet. Let's see what we got. If we get Steve Belichick, how much you want to bet Belichick will be our next GM? Big Drake, from your lips to God's ears. So basically, we're going to become the New York Patriots, and I would be completely fine with that. Should I roll another one? Cushmaster, do it. Do it. Chris, you are on crack. DJ better than Dak and Wentz. I don't know how you can say that if you're being unbiased. I just don't know how you can say that. And I don't even I think he could be better. How was you're talking The Last Jedi. Who will be the better quarterback, DJ or Darnold? Who's going to have the better supporting cast? Who's going to have the better offensive line? I think they both have talent. I think they both need support systems. Whoever has the better support system will be the better quarterback. That's my answer to that. Chris, did you know that you are the true GOAT? Well, I appreciate that, Arcane Ward Gaming. Thank you for tuning in the stream, buddy. Fowler, Fowler's another guy that you could look at in free agency, edge rusher. Mayo would come on a defensive quality control guy, but I'm not seeing many Patriots leaving New England to come here, though. I agree, unless it's a promotion. Unless it's a promotion, like a defensive coordinator, a guy that's not a DC with the Patriots, maybe then it's possible. But I agree, they're not coming for a lateral move, for sure. What is the possibility of DJ regressing like Baker? I'm not going to say it's impossible. You know, I'd be lying if I told you it's not. You also got to factor in that DJ is learning a completely new playbook now. So you got to factor that in. I'm not saying he's going to regress, but it's certainly not impossible. Hopefully he doesn't. Chris, love your unbiased takes, respect your opinion. I really appreciate that, Leon Ellisman. Thanks for being here, buddy. Riley Franklin says, what if Joe Judge is just Belichick in disguise? Well, Riley, then we're going to be dancing in the streets. And I'm going to be live streaming a lot of playoff games in the future and a lot of Super Bowls in the future. So please be the next Bill Belichick in disguise. What about Lorenzo Carter? Somebody asked me about Lorenzo Carter earlier. It's hard to identify what Lorenzo Carter's role is going to be going forward. The Giants used him in so many different ways. At the end of the year, they moved him up to the line of scrimmage, so maybe they were testing out to see if he could be a defensive end, a 4-3 defensive end if they plan on doing that. He's also displayed he's very good in coverage, so he's a tough guy to figure out. He's a guy with a lot of talent, but I don't think they know his role yet. But I do think he'll be a part of the defense. It's just a matter of how they're going to plug him in. And what's going on, Omkar? Let's go to put him as outside linebacker. Some people have said middle linebacker, outside linebacker. I got to go, Chris. Sorry I couldn't stay long. Hip it. Thanks for being here, buddy. Chris, look out for Gerard for DC. Is currently the linebackers coach for the Patriots. Keep up the great work. I really appreciate that, Wilfred. And I remember him as a player, Mayo. Great linebacker for the Patriots. And, yeah, I didn't know he was a part of that coaching staff with the Pats. And that's certainly a possibility. Obviously, he's got familiarity with Joe Judge. It's a promotion for him. It's possible. Certainly possible. That would be an interesting hire for sure. Chris, you think primetime Eli was the best quarterback in the NFC East history? I'm going to sound biased here. Carter reminds me kind of a Kiwanuka. That's not a horrible comparison, Shakur. Not a horrible comparison. I do. I think Eli Manning, and, maybe I'm biased here, and I'll be the first to tell you. I'm a huge Eli fan. I love Eli Manning. I think Eli Manning is it's definitely arguable that he is the best quarterback in the history of the NFC East. And I'm going to say he is because I'm a Giants fan and I love him. But I think it's either Aikman, Eli, or Staubach. I think those are the top three. Aikman, to me, had the best supporting cast in the history of football. He had an incredible offensive line. He had probably the best offensive line ever. He had Emmitt Smith. He had incredible defense. I would go Eli. I would go Eli. In his prime. Let's see what we got here. About to unsub after that comment, BB13. BB13. BB13, I'm sorry, man. I know you're a Cowboys guy, but I got to tell it how I feel, man. Chris, what's your thoughts on Leonard Williams? Leonard Williams is going to be back. Leonard Williams is going to be back. And I like him. I think he's a good run stuffer. I think he collapses the pocket well. I think he creates sacks for guys on the edge. I'm a big Leonard Williams guy. Theismann, I don't know if Theismann was better than Eli. Theismann was really good, though. Dylan Ice, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat, bends the knees. He says, what about Vic Beasley? Yes, the coffee is very cold. Vic Beasley, that's a guy I haven't really looked at. To be honest with you, I don't even know how he did this year. I know he's had success in the past. It's a guy I'll take a look at. It's a guy I'll take a look at for sure. Vic Beasley, I think he had double-digit sacks a couple of years ago. I'll take a look at him. I'll definitely take a look at him. Yeah, I can't give you a great answer there. I haven't really thought about him, but I will take a look at him. Noah Syndergaard would be great for a defensive coordinator. Chris, you need some sleep, BB13 says. Listen, man, I'm a Giants fan. And sometimes my fanhood is going to come out. Can't help it, man. I completely understand people who say Roger Staubach. I completely understand people who say Troy Aikman. I completely understand people who might say, I don't know after that. I don't think there's any Eagles you could argue because nobody won Super Bowls. So, I think those are the three guys, in my opinion. Did Shaquille Barrett re-sign with the Bucks? No, I don't think he did. Not yet. Jay Feely, Chip Kelly says, yeah. Chris, do you think Evan Ingram will fall out of favor due to injuries? I don't think he's going to be with the Giants long term. He might be here for 2 more years. I don't think he's going to be here long term. Do you think Isaiah Simmons can guard the tight end slot, wide receivers, and play safety and linebacker? Yes. I think he's a very versatile player, and I think he's fully capable of playing both the linebacker and the safety, and he's a guy I like very much. I think if the Giants draft him, you're not going to see me shed a tear on draft night. I think he's going to be a great defensive player, and I think he would add a lot to our defense. McNabb was very good, too. Slurpee, man, you have a great night, buddy. Thank you for tuning in the stream. Coughlin for DC. Chris Leone is trying everything he can to get Tom Coughlin on this coaching staff. The one thing I'll say about McNabb, and listen, I know I probably might have some Eagles people in here. Chip Kelly's in here. Donovan McNabb, to me, and I'm a Giants fan, and I'm showing respect, I think he's a great quarterback. I really do. I didn't like the way he played in that Super Bowl when he was taking his time, but I thought Donovan McNabb was a great quarterback. I think he's either the 3rd or 4th greatest quarterback ever not to win a Super Bowl. But what I'll say about Donovan McNabb, he definitely benefited from having Andy Reid as his head coach. There's no doubt about it. But in fairness to him, he didn't have great weapons. He had James Thrash. He had, Pinkston. He had no great wide receivers. So Donovan McNabb was a great quarterback. But because he doesn't have the rings, I can't put him above Eli Manning. Let's see what we got here. Can't believe there are 2 judges in New York. Yeah, you and me both, Danny's Kim. Danny Thomas, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat. Ben Zaniz, he says, just draft Andrew Thomas at 4 and sign Connor McGovern to improve the O-line. Connor McGovern is probably the best center on the free agency market. It's a guy that the Giants will probably look at. And, you get those 2 guys. You got a young, up-and-coming offensive line. I wouldn't be upset about that at all if they do that. At all. Who do you think will be the DC? I don't know, to be honest with you. I've said guys that I'd be interested in, but I don't know if they're going to be considered. Richard, who they brought in for a head coaching gig, is a guy I'd consider. Wade Phillips. Those are the 2 guys I've said. But somebody brought up Mayo. I thought that was a good suggestion. He's young. It would be a promotion for him, and he'd be coming over from the Patriots. So Gerard Mayo might be a guy you want to look at, the former linebacker from the Patriots. There's a couple of guys, I'm sure, and I'm sure we'll hear the names leak in the coming days. Who is a good OC for DJ? I said Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden loved Daniel Jones during the draft. That's come out. And he's known as a good offensive mind. And people are going to hear Jay Gruden, they're going to go, what are you talking about? But he might not have been a great head coach, but I do think he could be a really good OC. And he really liked Daniel Jones. That might be a name that the Giants really want to strongly consider to be the offensive coordinator. Yeah, I agree, Tovar. I completely agree. I think that they need to bring in experienced head coaches with an inexperienced coach. I think it makes way too much sense not to. But we need to invest in the I don't know what Karambite's saying there. I think we need to invest in the whole O-line. Yes, we need to completely revamp the O-line. We only got 2 guys on our O-line right now that I think should be starters, and I don't even like Nate Solder. But Nate Solder will be a starter, probably on the right side if you bring in a left tackle. And I think that obviously Hernandez... No, 3. Zeitler as well. We have 3 starters on the offensive line right now. I think you're going to have 2 new starters this year, and we need to get younger. We don't have any youth on the offensive line outside of Hernandez. So that's something that they really need to focus on. And one guy people might be forgetting about, and I'm not saying he's going to crack the starting lineup, but maybe George Asafa-Wajayo. A lot of people were really high on. He had injury problems throughout training camp. He was a 7th-round pick, but most people had a 5th-round grade on him. Maybe... He could be a nice depth piece for this offensive line. That's a good guy to keep an eye on in OTAs and mandatory minicamp and stuff like that. Obviously Pulley, Gates. So we'll see if some of those depth guys could help us out as well. We could certainly use some depth and youth. Let's see what we got here. Does a new coach get Gettleman another 2 years at least? I think it does. I think Gettleman's here for 2 more years. I think it does. Unless we completely bomb. Caden Smith, rookie tight end. Your thoughts? I think he's gonna be. I think he's a really nice piece, and he's cheap. He's known for his blocking. He was ranked atop. I think he was a 6th round pick, and he was. If you look at most mocks last year, he was in the top 7 or 8 tight ends in the draft. I think it was a really good find by Gettleman. I think he did a great job with that. What's going on, Giants Nation highlights? Who do you like more, Joe Judge or Judge Judy? Oh, Judge Judy. Oh, yeah. I'd marry Judge Judy in a second. She makes like $50 million a year to sit on court and talk about nonsense. Yeah, Judge Judy. I'd marry her. Yeah. Okuda? Okuda's a guy we could look at. I've seen him being mocked to the Detroit Lions a lot, but he's definitely a guy we could look at. Let's see what we got here. Hypothetically, if Burrow fell to the Giants, would you draft him and trade? No, I don't think I would. I would try to trade down. She seems like a bossy girlfriend. She does. Who you have today? Knicks or Lakers? Be it Lakers. Knicks or the local high school team. The local high school team. Yannick Ngakoue to the New York Giants. I certainly hope so. Did you mention? Yes, a bunch of people have brought up Pepper Johnson for the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. I think Detroit will trade down. It's possible. Giants and Detroit are obvious potential trade down targets, being that the Dolphins will probably take a quarterback. Team might want to jump them to get Tua or Herbert or whoever. You sit around and talk about nonsense. I do. Would you spend money on Clowney? He has not been dominant since leaving Watt. Yes, I would. He doesn't get great sack numbers, but he's a very good all-around player. If you watch him play, yes, Clowney's a disruptor. I like Clowney. I don't think he's going to hit the open market, though. I think Seahawks are going to keep him. Curtis Riley is DC. Not a guy I've considered. Detroit might take a quarterback. It's possible. I think Fish Vegas brought that up as a possibility, and it makes sense if they decide to trade Stafford. If anybody takes that contract, he's still got 3 or 4 years on that contract. So the only way they take a quarterback is if they trade Stafford. Maybe a team's desperate enough and they think he can put him over the top. Lamb or Judy? Judy. Fourth overall to the Bears. Fourth overall to the Bears for any... I don't know what you're asking there. Sophisticated says, I still have a feeling we will get a shot at Chase Young. I like your optimism. I don't see it. By the way, anybody that may be new to the channel, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you guys for being here. I'll go to 11. I started at 8:45. I'll go to 11. I had a lot of fun tonight, guys. I always love doing these. In the offseason, I'm going to do a lot more of these. Being that, obviously, there's a lot to talk about. The draft, free agency, more hires. I'm sure that there's going to be a defensive coordinator this week, offensive coordinator, special teams coach. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. I'm probably going to go live twice a week, once for after the Super Bowl. The mock draft thing I proposed, I'll probably doing that. And then this, like a Q&A. I love doing it. I love talking to you guys. Love answering your questions. Love talking about the New York Giants. So I'll definitely be doing this a lot more, being that there's not going to be games to stream. So instead of that, I figure we do off-season coverage. We talk Giants. Why not? I love doing it. And I love, obviously you guys. I love talking to you guys. You guys always give me great ideas for my videos. You guys help my channel. And I just love talking to you guys. I love conversating with you guys about the Giants. Eric Berry at the end of his... I appreciate that. Our new head coach plus very tough schedule equals critical New York fan base that could very quick... I agree. We have to be patient. That's all I keep saying. We have to be very patient. That's got to be the biggest key this year as fans. We have to give this guy a chance. If you could trade number 4 for a player, who would it be on the Bears? I'm not trading 4 for a player. I'm trading 4 for picks. I'm not trading 4 for a player. We need picks. Garrett Richard, offense and defensive coordinator. It's possible, and I would not be upset with that at all. Where is Ruben Randle? I have no idea. Ruben Randle sucked. He was garbage. God, Ruben Randle had he had 1 or 2 great games every year, and after that he did nothing. Dropped so many balls. He was so bad, Ruben Randle. Just waiting what happened. Yeah, I cannot wait for free agency and the draft. Can't wait. Chris, linebacker prospects in the draft. I have to do more research. I don't want to... One thing I never like to do is bullshit you guys. I need to do more research on prospects. The coaching search has taken up so much of my time. But I'm going to do a lot of research on everything in the coming weeks about the draft, late round draft picks, first round draft picks, potential targets for the Giants. I'm obviously going to look at our biggest needs, and we're going to do a lot of that in the offseason. I love Hakeem Nicks. Draft free agency, what's more immediate? Free agency comes before the draft in the NFL. Free agency's in mid to late March, I think. I forget the exact day. It's about a month before the draft, and which I like. I don't like that the NBA does the reverse. I like that you get to set your team up in free agency so you know what you got to do in the draft. I don't understand why the NBA doesn't do it that way. But be prepared for a lot of videos on free agency day. I did it last year. You're going to get like 20 videos. I'm going to have every big, free agent signing, there's going to be a video on it. So be ready for it. It'll be quick, 4 or 5 minutes, but quick breakdown. Travis Beckham sucked. Is this like, let's test Chris's knowledge of horrible New York Giants? Travis Beckham was a horrible tight end for the Giants. What would you want for the number 4 pick? I did a video on that, Brian. And, I broke down each individual situation, and I looked at possible trade targets. I think the teams that would trade up to get number 4 are teams that need a quarterback. So I looked at the Chargers. I looked at the Colts. I looked at, there was like 4 teams I looked at. I can't remember all at the top of my head. But if it was the Chargers, which I think is probably the most realistic, 4 to 6, I'd want a similar package to what the Jets got, maybe a little less. The Jets moved up from 6 to 3. They got 3 second-round picks. I'd want something like that, maybe 2 seconds at a third if I'm moving down 2 spots. And Danny Dimes, thanks for letting me in. $5 super chat, bends the knees. And he says, would a Saquon trade be realistic if we send him to a non-threat? I don't see us winning games through him. It's possible, but this would not be the year to trade him. If you're going to trade Saquon Barkley, this is not the year. He's coming off a year where he was disappointing, and he's coming off an injury. Especially a player as talented as Saquon Barkley, you never trade a player like that, in my opinion, when his value is not at its highest point. It's like the stock market. You don't want to sell a stock. If you buy a stock for $30 a share, and I got to stand up again. If you buy a stock for $30 a share, you don't want to sell it when it's at 15. You want to sell it when it's at 50. So right now, Saquon Barkley his stock is not at the point where you want to, this green screen tonight sucks. Okay? But his stock is not at the point where you'd want to trade him. Do you think Nate Solder will bounce back? No. Maybe he'll play better on the right side. And maybe he'll play better with Daniel Jones with more experience reading defenses. But no, Nate Solder's not that good. What's going on, Sean Hicks? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on, Ryu? Thanks for being here, buddy. You doing squat? BB13. No, every time I stand up, it fixes the green screen. OBJ returning about... No. Nah, I doubt it. I did a video on that as well. There's numerous reasons why I don't think that we would bring OBJ back, and it's as much to do with Cleveland as it is with the New York Giants. But maybe in the future, not this year. No way, in my opinion, that OBJ is coming back this year. Let's see what we got here. What's more effective, to kill a mouse, a gun, or a Ninja Star? Oh, Ninja Star. If you killed a mouse with a gun, you're going to put holes in your floor. Our number one need to be O-line. Every good team is built around that. Everything. Yeah, pass rusher and O-line. But I agree. We need to fix the O-line. You need to protect Daniel Jones. You need to set up a running game for Saquon Barkley. Betcher's gone. Ryu, Betcher's gone. Betcher's been gone. It's just not official yet. Betcher's gone. No, I'm not from Antarctica. That was a joke. If you were in this stream when I said that was a joke. Yo, about Darius Slayton, dude remind me like a young crew. I like Darius Slayton a lot. And one YouTube, I always like to give credit to YouTubers when they're ahead of the curb. One guy I got to give credit for, Cop Pizzle, man. Cop Pizzle was on Darius Slayton before the year started. He said that he was going to blow up, and he was right. Darius Slayton was great for the Giants this year. I'm not going to go as far to say Cruz when Cruz was at his best, but Darius Slayton's going to be a good wide receiver, and that was a great find by Gettleman. Realistically, are you higher on trading down for the Giants? Trading down. If it's the right package, I'd much rather trade down than stay where we are for. But it's got to be the right package. But Corey, yeah, we do have Corey Coleman, 40 luck. Problem with him is, he suffered an unfortunate injury, And we'll see if they bring him back. He was good for kick returns, though, so we'll see. I wouldn't trade 26, but I understand the thought process. Not right now, though. Not right now. Do I think Evan Ingram will be traded? I'd be open to it. Probably not, but I'd definitely be open to it for the right price. I have a question. I don't want him to leave my team, but it could possibly happen. I'm asking this. Would you want Dennis Allen from the Saints as defensive coordinator? Another guy I'd have to do a lot more research on. Last Jedi, if I'm being completely honest. I'll look into him. I'll look into him. I'll let you know. Joe Judge is the truth. Joe Lutz, from your lips to the ears of God. I'm a big Joe Judge fan. Yes, I did know that. Karambite. I did know that. That came out a couple weeks ago. They said that he was gonna go to the Colts with McDaniels last year. I have a question. Do you think Golden will be resigned? That's a great question. If, like I said earlier, if it's 4-3, 0% chance he's not coming. He's not going to be here if it's the 4-3. If it's the 3-4 and Betcher's not here, which we all think he's not going to be, I still don't know if he's coming back because he was brought in here for the Betcher system. We'll see. I know a lot of Giants fans want him back, but when you find out how much he's going to try to get in free agency, you might have second thoughts. We'll see. I like Golden, but that's a good question. Let's put it this way. I think it's much more likely Leonard Williams is back than Golden, but they both could be. Will Ryan Conley still be with the Giants? Yes, definitely. Can you fish in the Hudson River? I will do that during the playoff streams. I will fish in the Hudson River one time for you guys. I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can right now because I know there's a lot of people in here. Are you coming to Vegas for the drafts? If so, I would love to meet. Angel Gonzalez, that's still up in the air. I've definitely thought about it. There's a solid chance I am. And I will announce that if I am probably 2 months before. Yeah. Another guy I'm going to have on the channel, by the way, Rover Sports, who I asked if he'd want to go to Vegas. And he should be on the channel this week. Love Rover Sports. One of my favorite guys on YouTube. Talk to him off of YouTube whenever I can. And I talked to him today, actually, on the phone. He was really pumped up about this hire. So he wanted to come on the channel and talk about it. So I'll probably have him on sometime this week. I don't know if it'll be live or a recorded video, but we're going to talk about the head coach, the coordinators, all that. And I'm looking forward to that. Do you know the... No, I don't, Lionheart. I don't know the contract details. I don't know if they've come out yet. Yo, Chris, which game are you going to this season? Probably the Browns game, if I had to guess. Chris, maybe you can do a video just positioning other head coaches that had no prior head coaching experience but had rather successful. What a great idea for a video. What a great idea for a video. I got to put that in my notes. I got to figure out what I would title that, Rudy. But I think I'm going to do that. Love it. I like that idea. I think I'll do that video. Eli to the Bears, possible. It depends if they would move on from Trubisky, obviously. Where were you? I was in high school, Chip Kelly. I was in 10th grade. Chris, if the Giants drafted Jerry Jeudy number 4, would you be okay with that? I would understand it, but I would. Let's put it this way: I wouldn't be jumping for joy taking a wide receiver number 4 overall. What O-lineman will be available in free agency? I mean, the big name is obviously Conklin. That's who everybody talks about. We'll see if Costanzo, the other tackle from the Colts, is available. McGovern, the center. Those are a couple names. I don't know the guards because the Giants don't need guards. Really love what you post coming from a huge Skins fan. Stay being you and keep up the banger football content. I really appreciate that, man. Thanks. Listen, man, one thing I've noticed, some of my best supporters are not Giants fans. And I mentioned this earlier. I don't know how many people heard it because the chat was really moving then. One thing I'm definitely planning on doing, I don't know if it's going to be every day. I don't know if it's going to be a couple days a week. But within like maybe 3 or 4 months, once I get everything situated, probably after the draft, I'm planning on doing like a daily podcast for like an hour. And then I'm going to break up, similar to what Strong Opinion Sports does. Obviously, it's going to be more New York Giants-based, NFC East-based. But, obviously a couple of broad sports topics around the, you got to fill up an hour at a time. Can't always talk strictly Giants. But, and then cut it down into 6, 7, 8-minute segments and drop individual videos from the podcast. Like, say I talk about Daniel Jones for like 8 minutes. I make a separate video for that. I also release the podcast. So that's one thing I'm definitely probably going to do in like 4 months or so. That's one thing I'm definitely considering. Bring back Preston Parker. Teddy going to get paid this offseason. We'll see. Teddy Bridgewater, are you talking about? He played really well for the Saints when he got the opportunity. You are entertaining and well-informed. Hard not to like. I really appreciate that, man, Slick Smith, man. How did you build your following? I don't really have an answer for that. People ask me that. I've been on YouTube for about a year and 8 or 9 months. I put in a lot of work, consistent content. I just work really hard, and I try to put out the best content I can. I worked with a lot of YouTubers. It's always good to collaborate, obviously, because you get eyes on your channel from other audiences, and that certainly helped me get a start. I always credit Sim from Nothing But Knicks. He helped me out a lot when I first started. That's another guy I want to work with again, when I get a chance. Jet Central helped me out a lot. I worked with him early on a lot. Bad Dog, of course. I work with him all the time. Working with YouTubers certainly helped, and putting out a lot of content, What's going on, Austin Ennis? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Are you going to live stream the national championship game? Probably. I'll probably do that. And no, it is not empty. It's got a very little bit left, and it's cold as ice, but I'm going to finish it. Billy's been here since the beers. Yes, he has. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, when I used to balance the beers like this. Ryan, man, thanks for the love, man. $5 super chat. Benzini, he says, solar cap charge $19.5 million. Dead cap will be 13. Post as June 1st cut and cuts the dead money in half. $6.5 million, resulting in $13 million saved. That I didn't know, Ryan. I'm gonna have to look more into that. I didn't know that. But if that's the case, cut his ass after June 1st. I didn't know that. That is interesting. If that's true, if I'm saving $13 million, I'm cutting Nate Solder. Cut his ass. I'm going to Tokyo. I'm going to Tokyo for the Olympics. Yeah. No, I'm not. You streaming your draft reaction again, as I assume? Yes. If I'm not in Vegas. Let's see what we got here. Would you sign Byron Jones? Certainly got to look at. Depends on the price. What's going on, Kyle Johnson? Craig, I don't get into specifics, but I used to be a cable technician. Now I have a part-time job, and I'm trying to basically do what I love full-time eventually. I have a part-time job, though, to make enough money to get by with this, but I'm trying to do this full-time, whether it be on YouTube or off. That's my eventual goal. Cut his ass, Nick P. Cut his ass. Would you trade for Young? You talking about Chase Young? Nobody's trading. Redskins are going to take him. We got to accept that. Love being a member and need to talk to my blue brethren surrounded by Jets fans. I appreciate you being a member, Big Bang. And King Envy. What's up, King Envy? When is Judge's press conference? I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing it'll either be tomorrow or the day after. Probably the day after. But I don't know. I appreciate that, Chris Leone. Let's see what we got here. Can YouTube support you financially full-time, Chris? Not quite yet. But we're working towards it, Kyle. We're working towards it. Yo, bro, make this transition. You can do it, bro. Go at it with everything you got. I appreciate that, Craig, man. Thank you very much. Chris, do you think Eli is going to the Steelers? No, I don't. I think Roethlisberger will be the quarterback there next year. He's getting paid a lot of money. I miss the old chair in the Mets and Giants championship. I know. A lot of people say that. Shout out Reggie Bullock. Yeah, Reggie Bullock, man. God, Reggie Bullock. Didn't work out too well for the Knicks. David Giles, man, you have a great night, buddy. Well, I hope eventually you get there. Follow your dreams. I appreciate that, Kyle, man. I appreciate that, Block Nation. Thank you very much. How do you feel about McCarthy signing for the Cowboys? I think he was a good fit for them. I said that earlier. I don't think he was a great fit for us. I think he was a good fit for them. When are you coming home with the anti? It has been way too long. I gotta go. I gotta stream from Antarctica one of these days. Let's see what we got here. Is Garrett a fit for offensive coordinator? Yes, I think he is. Again, I think a lot of Giants fans get scared of that name, but I do think Garrett's a good fit for offensive coordinator. I do. I'm going to have a video on that tomorrow. I'm definitely going to have a video on that tomorrow. I'm going to probably have a video on Belichick's son because people have asked about that if there's articles on it. I don't know if it's just a pipe dream or not. I'm sure, obviously I'm going to have a pros and cons video on Joe Judge, and I'm sure there's going to be other news. So I'll definitely have some videos out tomorrow for sure. Big Bang, man, you have a great night, buddy. I'm scared for the future of this team. Chris, do you think the Giants should re-sign both Marcus Golden? Somebody asked me that earlier. Depends on if we stay with the 3-4 or not. I think Williams is going to be back. Regardless, Golden I'm kind of iffy on. I don't know. I really don't know. We brought him in for Betcher. Betcher's not going to be here probably, so that's a tough one, Marcus Golden, because he did play well. LaMelo, man, you have a great night, buddy, man. Thank you for being here, buddy. Eli's going to the XFL. That'd be cool. XFL starts after the Super Bowl. I'm probably going to try that out. People love my streams. I have fun doing it. I'm probably going to do one game and try it out and see if I enjoy it, see if you guys enjoy it. I'll probably do the New York team. I'm not going to do videos on it, but I'll probably stream the first XFL game and see if people enjoy it. Yo, Chris, what about Bad Dog Ron Effect and you, Trisha? If there's one free agent lineman and pass rusher you can bring in, who is it? Ngakoue for the pass rusher, and Conklin if he's healthy. Yep, those two. I'm going New York Garden. Oh, you're going to New York. That's awesome, man. Let's see what we got it. Do you think New York will say it was another rebuilding year if they win the three? I mean, I don't know what they'll say. All I'm going to say is we can't say fire Joe Judge after 1 year. Can't do it. You got to give the guy a real chance. And we still do have a young team. I do think the team will be better next year, though. But we have a tough schedule. So we'll see how it plays out. I think we're headed in the right direction. We've drafted well. We have young talent. This is such an important offseason with the cap space we have, with the draft picks we have. Got to hit on those draft picks. Got to hit. We can't sign bad contracts in free agency. We can't set ourselves up for failure like we did in 2016. So this is such an important offseason. And especially next year is so important for Daniel Jones, being that it's his second year. You want to see him take a big step forward. So there's a lot of important things this season for the Giants. It's such a big year. Even if we don't make the playoffs, we need to see a lot of improvement in a lot of areas. Important season in 2020. Chris, should the Giants draft Andrew Thomas or Jedrick Willis has been really moving up draft charts, and some people are saying him over Andrew Thomas. I wouldn't be against either one of those guys. We need a left tackle. Danny Thomas, man, thanks so much for the love, man. He says, I subscribed when I saw you on Sim's channel. Wow, man, so you go way back, man. I appreciate that, man. $2 super chat, you can't forget about it. Yeah, I love Sim. Sim's a great guy. Great guy, great channel. I always try to shout him out whenever I can. Nothing but Knicks. He's got a great channel. I've had the privilege of meeting him, I think, 3 times in person. He's a great guy. Great guy, great channel. But thank you very much, man. Yo, Chris, what about you, Bad Dog, Ron Effect, and me do a stream together? Well, talk to Ron Effect. You know, I'm always open to working with any Giants YouTuber. Chris, what do you think of Corey Littleton of the Rams? I made a video on him. I'm a big fan of him, Ryu. I think he fits the 3-4 perfectly. And he'd be my number one target at the middle linebacker position if we were going to add one in free agency. He's going to cost a lot, though. Is that the spot where we want to spend our money? That's the question. But if it is, I like him a lot. I do think he'd be a really nice fit for the Giants. Mo says that was such a PC answer. Well, no, what, in terms of Ron? I like Ron Effect. I mean, I'd work with Ron Effect. He just, he doesn't seem to like to work with anybody. But I would work with Ron Effect. Chris, when the Pro Bowl approaches, maybe make a video on the Giants you think should have at least been considered. It may be a bit late, so I don't know. You want my answer to that? No one. We won 4 games. We don't deserve any Pro Bowlers. Ian, thank you so much for the love, man. $2 super chat. You can forget about it. He says, do you think the NFCs can become great again? Yeah. Yes. It will. The NFL goes in cycles. The NFC West sucked, 10 years ago. So the NFL goes in cycles. It will be great again. No doubt about it. And I like Littleton. I like Ron Effect. I'm not knocking Ron Effect, Trisha. Just doesn't seem to want to work. If he would work with me, I'd work with him in a second. Like I said, I respect every giant content creator's channel. I work with Fist Vegas. I've worked with Pizzle. I've worked with Bad Dog, obviously. I've worked with Kid Blue. I would work with any Giants YouTuber's channel. Let's see what we got here. Schobert or Littleton? Littleton in the 3-4. Littleton. Do you think Brady is going to the Steelers? No. I think Brady's going to stay with the Patriots or he's going to retire. But some people believe he's going to play somewhere else. We'll see. The Chargers could make sense if Rivers retires. Let's see what we got here. Work with EDP. EDP's got like 1 million subscribers. So, yeah. If EDP wants to work with me, by all means. But I wouldn't expect it. I like Jay Gruden a lot, RIP, for offensive coordinator. I've said that a bunch of times throughout the stream. I like him a lot. He might be my number one target for the OC if possible. Should the Giants cut Aldrick Rosas or keep him? I wouldn't be upset either way. He was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago. He's going to be cheap. I wouldn't be opposed either way. Maybe you bring in a kicker to compete with him in training camp. I wouldn't be opposed either way. I'm not like all in on him, and I'm not like whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, kicker's like the last thing I'm thinking about right now. We have so many other bigger problems. Obviously, he's a problem, but we got to fix the O-line, the pass rusher. I'd probably bring him back one more year and see if he could rebound. Fowler or Ngakoue? Ngakoue. Ngakoue's my number one target for a pass rusher. What about Eli to the Steelers? Doubtful. Like somebody just asked me that, actually. Doubtful. Would you trade Rosas and a 5th-round pick for? Yes. The Ravens wouldn't do that. Who would you like as defensive coordinator? Me, Chris Richard. That's who I'd like. Or Wade Phillips. But I don't know if those are going to be the guys they consider. I'd work with She Got Sports 100%. I'd work with any Giants YouTuber. Rover Sports, another guy I've worked with. I'd work with any Giants YouTuber. But One Giant Rebuttal, of course, I had him on the channel this week. I am going to work with Mike Two Nice Bros Wisconsin. That's one guy a lot of people have asked me to work. He's got a great channel, by the way. A lot of people have asked me to work with him, and I contacted him. I reached out to him on Twitter probably like week 9, 10, and I said, let's do something, you know. And he's got conflicting schedules right now. I think he's going to school. I don't know what for, but he doesn't get home until like midnight every night. So he said in the next season he wants to do something with me, like, you know, some kind of daily collaboration. I don't know what, but yeah, we're gonna be working together. I like She Got Split in a non-sexual way. What's going on, Gregory Cruz? Thanks for popping in the stream. I didn't put anybody in timeout, Michael. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I have Bad Dog's number, Trisha. I got Bad Dog's number. I've got Rover Sports' number. I got a couple of YouTubers' numbers. Yeah, that's why I said in a non-sexual way. Work with Louis T. Chris. It would be a great collab and great content for the channel. I will look into him. That's the third person who asked me about him tonight. I will look into him. Oh, man, Deep Front Demonic, man. Thanks for love, man. I really do appreciate that, man. $5 super chat. Ben's the Knee says, since he's a young coach, do you think Judge will have any say in the draft? But yes. Not full say. But, yeah, I think it'll be exactly what the Giants said. I think it'll be a collaboration. I think he'll have some say. But I obviously think Gettleman should have say. He's displayed he's a good drafter. But, yeah, I think it'll be a collaborative. I do. I think that they'll talk together. They'll come up with a plan of what players they want to target in free agency, what players they want to target in the draft. Yeah, I think that he'll have some say, for sure. But thanks for that, man. I really do appreciate that, man. Who do you think is better, Lamar? All right, I'm back, Chris. It's time for bed. Yeah, I'm closing the show in about 5 minutes. Who do you think is better, Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes? this year, Lamar Jackson. If I'm picking one long-term, Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson, as great as he is, and he's phenomenal. He's great. He relies a lot on his legs. So once his legs give out, he's not going to be as fast as he is now when he's 30. And he still could be really good. He could be great, but I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. Long-term, I'll take Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to just send you Bad Dog's number. No, you could ask Bad Dog for that. Is there anyone in college you like for OC? I got to do more research on that, to be completely honest with you. Brady is a guy that a lot of people have mentioned from LSU as a potential offensive coordinator. That's the guy a lot of people have mentioned. I love the Giants. Go Giants. 2021 Super Bowl NFL playoffs. We'll see, man. We'll see. How much money will get him and spend? He said he's going to save $20 million to not spend in free agency. We'll see if that's true or not. We'll see what finagling he does. We'll see who he cuts. We have to see how much cap space we're going to have after he signs Leonard Williams and whatever else he decides to do. But he has said that he plans on leaving $20 million aside, which I agree with, by the way. Brady to the Chargers, I think, is possible. I'm not predicting it, but I think it's possible. I like Isaiah Simmons. A lot of people ask me about that. I'm going to have a video on him as soon as the coaching is done. I'm definitely going to talk about Isaiah Simmons. I know he's a prospect that a lot of Giants... He's probably going to be the first prospect I talk about because he's a guy that a lot of Giants fans have interest in. Probably going to be the first guy I talk about will be Isaiah Simmons once I start getting into my draft profile videos. What are the biggest offseason needs, a player, coach, whatever? Biggest offseason needs, pass rusher, offensive tackle. Joe Lutz. Pass rusher, offensive tackle. And a veteran cornerback. I think we could use a veteran cornerback in the secondary. Middle linebacker. We have a lot of needs, Joe. Center. We have a lot of needs. And fortunately, we have a lot of draft picks and money to fill some of them. Who do I think is going to win Coach of the Year? Tomlin could. I think Tomlin's done a great job with the Steelers this year. Vrabel could with the Titans. Shanahan could with the 49ers. Those are some names off the top of my head that definitely could. Is Shaq back? Yes, he is on the market. Harbaugh. Good call, Troy. Harbaugh. He is on the market. And he's going to cost a ton of money. I don't know if I'd be willing to give it to him. He's been inconsistent throughout his career. I don't know if I'd give it to him. But somebody's going to pay him big bucks. Congrats on the channel. I have all my Rhode Island Giants fans following. You're doing a great job. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much, man. And yeah, man, I love doing it. I never. It's funny, man. I always say this. The reason I started YouTube, I was just looking for a hobby, something that I loved, fun to do, and I ended up taking it a lot more seriously as the channel started to gain traction, and I didn't even realize that people came to YouTube for sports information when I started. I was just doing it for fun, and then I took it a lot more seriously, and I found that I really enjoy doing it. I love doing it. I love talking Giants. You love talking football. One goal I have this year in this off season, obviously, it's always going to be primarily Giants. Always. I'm never going to get away from that. I'm always going to give you guys Giants content. But one thing I do want to incorporate this year is more broad stuff. I want to do like weekly power rankings. I want to, if there's a big story in the NFL, I want to do a video on it. But I'm always going to give you guys Giants, for sure. You too, Omkar, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. Danky says, do you listen to... No, I don't know who that is. Shom Raj. Much love from Tennessee, one of the few Giants fans down here. Well, that's got to be tough, right? Well, Cobb Pizzle's from Tennessee. Comeback player of the year. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I came up with the obvious answer. And now I forget. I can't remember who I said. Somebody asked me that the other day, though. And there's a guy that's clearly going to win it. And I can't remember who I said. Ah, man, I forgot. But there's definitely... Was it Garoppolo, maybe? Was that who I said? Maybe it's Jimmy Garoppolo? Might be Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G, maybe. But I think I said somebody else. I can't remember. Tannehill. Tannehill could be for sure. Mo, yeah, I had a cooking show. That's when I was on for fun, Mo. That's when I was on for fun. What other YouTubers do I know? Thanks for being here, Jeremy Johnson. Thanks for popping in, buddy. What's up, Scottzilla? What other YouTubers do I know? Well, I've met Rover Sports in person. I've met Jet Central in person. I've met Sim in person. I've met Bad Dog in person. I've met Kid Blue in person. I've met One Giant Rebuttal in person. I've done collaborations with various other YouTubers. Fish Vegas, I work with him every week on his channel, a podcast. Yeah, I've worked with a ton of YouTubers. Chris, bring your cooking, but I would enjoy that. Stella, maybe I will. Maybe I will have a cooking show for old time's sake one day. Maybe. Yeah, Kid Boo is the size of a toddler. Have a great night, Danny Dimes, man. Yeah, I'm going to end this in like 5 minutes. I'm going a little overtime right now. I'm not going to tell you my last name. Chris, I'm going to meet you one day. Yes, I'm sure you will, man. What picks besides Bethea was bad by Dave Well, Bethea was, you mean free agents. Here's the thing with Bethea. And a lot of people point to Bethea as like this horrible signing. And obviously it wasn't a good signing. But he was $2.5 million. He was a flyer. I don't get on him for that signing. It was just taking a shot in the dark. You know, you didn't have much cap space last year, so I don't get on him for that. His bad. I mean, Solder was his. You know, in terms of money, was his worst. Obviously, we all understand why he did it. Kareem Martin was a really bad signing. Who's that offensive lineman? He signed a really bad one. Omame was a bad signing. Patrick Omame. Couple others. But, yeah, those are some of his bad ones. Yeah, Patrick Omame, that's it, yep. Chris Mozzarella Jr., Mozzarella. Yo, Chris, Ron, I think we need more cooking content, Timothy says. You staying up on... No, I'm ending this in like 3 minutes, 11:20. We went a little overtime tonight because I always want to try to stick around as long as I can because I know that these get flooded and, you know, it's hard for me to answer everybody's questions, so... And I only do it once a week, if that. So I like to try to stick around and answer everybody's questions that I can. Who's the best linebacker right now in the NFL? Oh, man. I don't know how he's doing this year, but Luke Kuechly's always really good. I think maybe he regressed a little bit, but he's always really good. Are you talking middle linebacker? Are you talking edge? You know, it depends on what you're talking. Khalil Mack's obviously great. Yeah, those are a couple names. Wagner's awesome. Yeah, Wagner's great. Von Miller, if you talk, yeah, Fizzle, yeah, you're a Broncos fan. No, I'll be watching it after though, Jeremy Johnson, as soon as I end the stream. Jonathan Stewart, another horrible signing. No, Trisha, no, I don't give out my number. But you can follow me on Twitter. You can message me on there. What position do you think the Giants will go for in the upcoming draft? And who do you think it will be? At first round, obviously, I assume you're asking. It's either going to be edge rusher, offensive tackle, or wide receiver, I suppose, is a possibility. And I think it'll either be, right now, today, Andrew Thomas or Isaiah Simmons. That's right now. That could completely change in a month. My social security number, Dr. Grape, is 000000000. Who did you want to be the second pick in the 2018 draft? Great question, Christian. If I'm being completely honest with you, on draft night, I was hoping to trade down. I love Saquon. I'm wearing his jersey. So I love Saquon, and I was happy when we took him. He's my favorite player. But on draft night, I was hoping to trade down. I was. I wasn't in love. I was not in love with any quarterback in that draft outside of Baker Mayfield. I liked Sam Darnold. I had no problem taking Barkley over Sam Darnold because I didn't think that the Giants had the foundation for the quarterback to succeed, being that we had a bad offensive line. At the time, we had no weapons outside of Odell Beckham. We had no running back. So I wasn't against not taking a quarterback there, but on draft night, I would have preferred a trade down. But I obviously wasn't upset when we took Barkley. Been repping the Giants since 1996. Tiki Barber, Jason Sion, keep doing. I appreciate that, King. Yeah, same. I'm right around the same time period. Little before that, probably 93. Oh, I was probably about 8. But yeah, I'm with. I named my dog Tiki. Yeah, I love Tiki. Loved Tiki Barber. I would work with anybody, Trish. Anybody. I didn't even know you were a Giants YouTuber. If you could meet any Giants player, who would you pick? I would say Eli Manning or Tyree. Eli Manning for me. Definitely Eli Manning. He's my favorite Giant ever. Obviously a lot of people would say Lawrence Taylor. I didn't get to see Lawrence Taylor in his prime. Obviously, I'd be open to meeting him, but my number one guy would be Eli Manning. I think he ends up retired. Eli Manning. What if the Giants are in love with Chase Young? Could it be possible that if we trade with the Bengals, I don't think the Bengals. I think the Bengals are staying at 1. I think the Bengals are going to take Burrow. I don't think they're going to risk that. Yeah, LT would probably go on a Coke binge and bring me to a strip club. This is probably true. Coke over Pepsi. I can't. People call me crazy. I can't. Whenever I go to a restaurant and I get soda, the first thing I ask is Coke or Pepsi because I don't like Pepsi. I like Coke. I don't like Pepsi. Who do you want for OC? Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden would be my number one choice. Right now, right now, before I hear some names. I'm going to have a mock draft in about a week. I'm waiting until the Giants have their whole staff. Obviously, right now, because mock draft takes a lot of work. And I'm going to have a ton of them. But, obviously right now there's a lot of Giants content about the coaching staff. There's going to be a lot of Giants content. I'm going to have to do, more on our current, the guy we just brought in. And then I'm going to have to do content on the guys he brings in. I want to do the entire staff, give you guys a breakdown of the new DC, the new OC, the new linebackers coach, whatever he brings in. So I'm going to have a lot of content on that over the next week or whatever, however long it takes, 10 days. And that's when I'm going to jump into the draft and the free agency and all that. Least favorite Giants player in your fanhood, tenure, entertainer. Ooh, Ron Dane's up there. I did not like Ron Dane. Ruben Randall is up there. Eric Flowers is definitely up there. Probably Eric Flowers. How do you feel about the safety position? Because Antoine Winfield could be an option in the second round. We could definitely use another safety. The thing that people forget about is Love can move to the slot corner. So we could definitely use another safety. But, guys, it is 11:22. I've been live for a while. We went, 2.5 hours. That's why a little more than 2.5 hours. Always like to go as long as I can, guys. You guys were great. I always say thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. Thank you guys for blowing up the stream. Thank you guys for coming in here and showing me a lot of love tonight. And thank you guys for being great subscribers. I hope anybody that might have checked out the stream for the first time, liked what they saw. Hopefully you guys subscribed. And I'll be doing this a lot more. I'm gonna have a lot more videos up tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. And we're going to continue the New York Giants offseason talk. You're going to have a ton of New York Giants offseason coverage all the way up until June, probably. Because even after the draft, we're going to recap the draft. We're going to talk about OTAs, all of that stuff. So hopefully you guys stick around. And, we'll be talking a lot of Giants this offseason. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. And you guys have a great night. Have a great night, everybody.